have happened is have something happen at one of our fiscal court meetings as well. So I appreciate your all's patience in working with us. And I have to take my glasses off because they keep fogging up under this mask. So, and we'll start here in just a few minutes, okay? Thank you all. Where did John go?
Thank you.
He's like, yeah.
That's not good. It's on. Is it? Oh. He's ready. Down here.
What's he hurt for?
Tom, the band. He's been suing the county for, it's in federal court.
Good morning. It's now on the digital clocks. It's 9:31. And at this time, I would like to have the chaplain for the Zonton Fire Department, Bill Wells, please come up and lead us in an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Good morning, Judge. If y'all would join me in humbling yourself before the Almighty God, I'd like to invite him to this fiscal court meeting this morning. Lord Jesus, in Matthew 18:20, you said, "If two or more gather in my name, there am I in their midst." We thank you, Lord, for allowing us the time together here at fiscal court. I pray, Father God, that you bless each and every one here assembled today. I pray that you bless their families, all those that are dealing with health issues with this COVID. I just pray, Father God, that you just help our scientists to find this vaccine, Father God, that's going to take this COVID out of here so we can get back to our normal lives, but it's all up to you, Lord. I pray, Father God, for all the first responders, police officers, firefighters. Pray for Sheriff Scholler, that you protect them as they do their daily jobs as far as protecting the cities and properties of this county. I pray, Father God, that you just bless Judge Summers as he conducts this meeting. I pray that you be with the magistrates, Logston, Laswell, Ray Hill, and Mitchell, as they make the decisions, Father God, that are important to this county. And again, I just pray that you just be with each and every one here, Father, for it's in your Son, Jesus' most precious and beautiful name I pray and ask it.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chaplain Wells. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Here.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
All present?
Thank you. The Treasurer's Transfer Report. Treasurer Sharp, please.
Everything dated for July the 30th and also for July 31st under approved.
Second.
We got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the Treasurer's Transfer Report as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Approval minutes for the July 30th, 2020 meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Ray Hill to approve the minutes as presented, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 4th District Magistrate Ray Hill to approve all bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The Treasurer's report, Ms. Sharp.
Yes, Judge. In those packets were your monthly revenue journal, funds received report, award distribution, appropriation condition report, and the financial statement through July 31st of 2020 for those.
I make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report as presented.
I'll-
It's time to go up, take a look.
I'll second that motion. I have a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the Treasurer's report as presented, and a second by myself.
This one.
Any discussion?
Wow, this is the,
Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentations from our dear friends at KIPTA. I think we have every important person from there that helps us with our federal grants, of which I think you'll see that this community has more federal grants this year than we've had in the, let's put it this way, previous years. And this time I'd like to introduce Jared Haley, who is the head of KIPTA.
Thank you, Judge, and we appreciate you all inviting us today. As the judge said, I'm Jared Haley, the Executive Director at KIPTA, which is the Kentuckiana Regional Planning and Development Agency. And I'm joined by Amanda Spencer, who is our Director of Transportation, and Danielle Story, our Director of Community and Economic Development. KIPTA is one of 15 area development districts in Kentucky. Our service areas: Bullitt, Henry, Jefferson, Oldham, Shelby, Spencer, and Trimble counties in Kentucky, and Clark and Floyd counties in Indiana. The area development districts comprise a statewide network of multi-county planning and development organizations. We serve as forums, clearinghouses, technical centers, conveners for the region, and provide continuity to projects during the transition of local elected officials. The ads strive to foster regional strategies, solutions, and partnerships that achieve sustainable economic growth and improve the overall quality of life for the citizens of the Commonwealth. The ads are governed by a locally governed board of directors, and in Bullitt County, they're represented by Judge Summers and Keith Griffey. And I really want to just applaud both of them because they've both been very engaged and very active members with the agency. And in doing so, we have such a myriad of programs that you'll learn when Danielle and Amanda get up to speak, that you'll see that the complexity to try to understand how to tap into our resources really requires to be engaged. And so you all have a very strong advocate for Bullitt County, and Judge Summers and Keith, they're always advocating not only for the best interests of the county, but also for the cities throughout the county. Whatever they can do to support a project, I always receive a call from the judge. So just know that you all have a very strong support both at the regional level plus at the state level with Judge Summers. We have a social services division, which is headed by Jessica Elkin. She was unable to join us today, but just to kind of touch on a few of the services that they do before I turn it over. We are the designated area agency on aging and independent living. So the Social Services Division administers congressional funding from the Older Americans Act, in addition to funding through the state. And some of the accomplishments through this funding include meal delivery. And this is in addition to the meal services that you all provide as the county, but Obviously, the pandemic's created a lot of difficulties, but thanks to a strong network of volunteers, we have continued to increase the meals that are delivered to the vulnerable populations in the county. Just in the month of July, over 1,700 meals were provided. Looking back at the fiscal year that ended on June 30th, KIPTA provided 1,729 non-emergency medical trips to Bullitt County residents. This included trips from the older population to doctor's visits when they don't have another means of transportation. And KIPTA also performed approximately 1,750 hours of personal care services. These are services that are directed towards maintaining, strengthening, or safeguarding the function of a person in the home. A lot of what those programs do are to keep the older population from being institutionalized, so this kind of gives them the tools so they can remain in their home. So again, these are a lot of the services that are provided to the county, and a lot of these are at the direction of Keith and Judge Summers, who, as the board of directors, they help, they approve our budget, direct our policies, and also our committee actions. So I'll turn it over to Amanda and Danielle so they can speak a little bit more on their divisions.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Good morning. I am especially pleased to be here to talk about some of the things going on in transportation because Bullitt County is such an important partner in the work that we do at KIPTA as the staff agency to the Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO. And being part of the MPO, certainly that brings a lot of great opportunity, but it also is a tremendous responsibility, and Bullitt County consistently comes to the table as a leader to help us solve our complex regional challenges. So some of the things that we are proud of recently, earlier this year we finalized our new short and long range transportation plans, which were required by federal regs to keep those federal transportation dollars flowing to the region. We can't do that without our leaders at the table, serving on our technical and policy committee, helping make those things happen. Special thanks to Judge Summers and Keith Griffey, who consistently serve on our technical and policy committees. More recent good news is the MPO just awarded some dedicated federal funds to sponsors in Kentucky, and that included, this was just approved last month, that included $1.7 million to the city of Mount Washington for their historic memorial multi-use trail, and that's of course the bike ped improvements, but also some operational improvements at Landis Lane. Also, $800,000 is coming to Bullitt County for Kentucky 44 for preliminary engineering activities between 31E and the Spencer County line. Of course, that's not the only thing in the hopper for Kentucky 44. You're very much aware of your passionate pursuit of the build grant, the USDOT build grant. KIPTA was proud to partner and help with that as well, and doing our part to make sure that Kentucky 44 is ready to receive even additional federal funds. As far as additional things on the horizon, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet just approved their 2020 highway plan, and in my humble opinion, Bullitt County did very well with several important projects having real federal dollars scheduled in the biennium. The widening of 480 and the related 480 and 65 operational improvements, the widening of 245, again, real federal dollars sitting there in the biennium ready to move forward. There's also several pieces of Kentucky 44 in that highway plan, some state funded, some federal funded. Of course, the state funds, there's not a lot of those right now, but for example, the turn lanes of Bullitt East are sitting there with federal funds in the biennium. So just a real good position to be in right now. And I can tell you that does not come without just a lot of coordination, a lot of, how shall I say, pestering. So good work there. Our work is very much continuous in the vision of transportation. Yes, we have a new highway plan that we're excited about, but our work on the next highway plan has already started. So KIPTA staff will be supporting the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet in their prioritization process geared towards that 2022 highway plan. Their process is called SHIFT, the Strategic Highway Investment Formula for Tomorrow. And so that's how they score projects and make those decisions. The ads and MPOs are a critical part of that, so we'll be working with local elected officials. We never stop looking at the transportation data, identifying those new needs, looking at those projects, nominating projects for that SHIFT process, and then once those scores shake out, working with the local elected officials to make strategic decisions about, okay, what are we going to boost? What are we going to say is most important to us for the 2022 highway plan? The MPO is also looking at undertaking an active transportation plan, and that's going to be more focused on the bike ped, transit, complete streets type improvements, and we'll be looking as always to Bullitt County officials to come to the table and help us make that a meaningful planning exercise that'll be starting this fall. Last thing, I just want to say thank you for any support of our rideshare program. The Every Commute Counts vans, hopefully you see those, very popular at Fort Knox. KIPTA provides the van, maintenance, guaranteed ride home services. We'll come in and help individuals put together these van pools, and it's for a very small fee, they receive the van and these services, and a really valuable tool for people that want to save money, and of course, it improves air quality for everybody. So those are some of the most exciting things going on, but just more than anything, I want to say we are incredibly thankful for the good working relationship that we have, and look forward to continuing that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Danielle?
Hello, how are you all?
Good morning.
Thank you again for having us, and I just want to mirror what Jarrett and Amanda have both stated about the good working relationship. My division, the Community and Economic Development Division, we provide technical and planning assistance to local governments in our region, and so we have very strong working partnerships with the judge, with the mayors in Bullitt County, and we work with them to address various needs that they might have, and we assist with in any way, whether it's technical assistance or researching funding or data opportunities for them. Another thing that our division does is we write the region's comprehensive economic development strategy, as well as the regional hazard mitigation plan. And what this means for you all is that it keeps counties in our region in compliance with the EDA and with FEMA, so that you all can remain eligible to apply for funding. And so our committees and our board members participate and provide us feedback on both of those plans, so that we can make sure that we are adequately addressing the needs that you all have in your regions related to economic development and hazard mitigation. We also provide grant assistance and administration to our local governments, and some of those grants include community development block grants, rec trails, Land and Water Conservation Fund, Homeland Security, various FEMA and EDA grants, assistance to firefighters, as well as USDA rural development grants and loans. So you come to us with an issue, and we help figure out through those various funding sources what would work best and create a strategy to assist. We also work with the planning and zoning commissions and assist with comprehensive land use plans and zoning ordinances. We provide technical assistance with community and economic development by assisting with project development and researching possible funding sources. We also do regional water and wastewater planning by assisting the water and wastewater systems in the region by providing a framework for review, for evaluation of needs, and help them prioritizing projects, as well as maintaining a comprehensive database of all the existing water and wastewater infrastructure in our region. In addition to that, we assist with trying to apply for funding to fund the needed water and wastewater projects that get identified and prioritized in your communities. We have a regional planning council, and we have Judge Summers and Keith Griffey, as well as Felicia Harper and Larry Watkins sit on that and provide us feedback. And that council allows for different planning officials and local officials in the community to get together and discuss regional needs and share ideas about what's happening within their community. And we host the Regional Water Management Council, which also facilitates a place of discussion and allows local officials and system directors and operators and engineers to meet and hear updates from KIA and the Kentucky Division of Water, as well as receive legislative and regulation updates. Judge Summers and Keith Griffey also sit on that committee, which is they're very involved, as well as all your system directors in the county as well. Upcoming, our division will be updating our SEDS and hazard mitigation plan. So we will be coming out to your all's community shortly to get some feedback on those things. We are also going to be hiring a disaster resiliency coordinator. We applied for some EDA funding for that, and we were lucky enough to receive it. And that person is going to be actually coming out to all the localities and trying to help you address your COVID-19 response needs and assist you with finding funding and identifying projects. So we're really excited to get that person in. That should be happening shortly. And in addition to that, we'll be writing a pandemic response plan, a resiliency plan specifically addressed to how we're going to address the needs that have come up in pandemic response in the region. Currently, our most recent happenings in Bullitt County, We had our Mount Washington GPS project, so our KIPTA Community and Economic Development staff, as well as our GIS staff, GPS water and wastewater infrastructure for the city of Mount Washington. It allows the city to better maintain and identify projects that they need. We are currently in the city of Shepherdsville GPSing stormwater infrastructure within the city limits. This data will be used to, in a modeling software in order to allow the city to better plan for projects to address the various stormwater issues that you have in the community. So we're excited to have been a part of both of those projects. We are also currently administering a CDBG grant for the city of Lebanon Junction for their Preston Highway Water System Improvements Project. KIPTA assisted with the grant application, and Lebanon Junction received $157,500 for that project, so we're helping them administer that. That project should be kicking off shortly. And most recently, the judge was very involved in assisting with this project as well. We recently applied for a CDBG grant for the Roe Hill Road area water main extension and pump station project. So this project seeks to provide water to about 41 unserved residents off of Roe Hill Road. The judge has made that a priority of trying to get water to people in Bullitt County that still do not have access to it. And so this project is in partnership with the Louisville Water, and we're applying for, the Bullitt County Fiscal Court has applied for the CDBG funding, and Louisville Water is applying for half for SRF funding. And so we're hopeful. We just got that grant submitted, and we're waiting to feedback from the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority on the SRF side of things. So we're really excited for everything that we have got going on so far in Bullitt County, and we know that there'll be plenty more things that Judge Summers or Keith reaches out for assistance, and we're happy to help anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And gentlemen, any questions for Jared, Amanda, or Danielle? They're really great to work with, and they've been at our side for the last 18 months.
We know we just threw a lot of information, so you might have to think on this question.
Could you repeat that?
Well, thank you for what you all do and the cooperation and partnership you have with our county. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. On presentations, in your packet, gentlemen, the Kentucky Department of Transportation, due to COVID, they're not coming up to present the secondary road plan, but it's detailed, and
You might know if you could get maybe Robert pushed up earlier. He's gonna get.
yeah. Come on up, Robert. I'm sorry, I didn't see you back there. Morning, Robert.
I think all we got is transportation cabinet ain't gonna restore it because of the COVID, right? And everything is still a go. Everything that they promised back early in the year, they've accepted all of it. So I think all y'all gotta do is do y'all's legal part of it. It's underway. So as far as our flex funds, I talked to them yesterday, everything's supposed to be a go. And, I put in for $226,000. They're gonna give us $205,000. Discretionary is still being looked at. But I hope last year we got $351,000, which was everything we asked for. And this year I'm hoping to get $333,000 on discretionary.
Good.
So. Yep. Yeah, it looked better than I expected. So.
Yeah, I need a motion to approve the agreement for the secondary road plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the secondary road plan.
I'll second.
All right, that's multiple seconds. Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rahill to approve the secondary road plan as presented by the Kentucky Department of Transportation. to our county road system. And a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon and 3rd District Magistrate Laswell. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, sir.
Robert, before you leave, I want to thank you for everything you're doing on Greenbrier. You know, we've had a lot of people reach out, and you guys have done a first-class job. I don't think I've seen more rain than we've ever had, that I can imagine. And you guys are really kind of still on target. I think the only thing left you have is resurfacing, isn't it?
We're finishing our dress work up. I hope to finish it up tomorrow. And we'll start pulling the driveways back out, I hope Thursday. Finish them up on Friday, and then we're going to try and resurface on Monday, and then we'll be out of there.
Okay.
So-
Well, we've got a lot of compliments the way your crew and staff has all worked with the residents and moving mailboxes, and so thank you for that. And it's made a big difference in that area. I know from a lot of people moving that road from some spots it seemed like it might have been just 8 or 9 foot to 20 foot. So
Yeah.
thanks for all the work that you all done. Your crew's done an amazing job over there.
Yeah, they've been working pretty good out there. They kind of surprised me and stepped up, and they've done a good job, so. Yep, we would have been out of there, but got a cross tile there about 2579, 2571. We had to change it because it'd been flooding the road. So while we were there, we went on and picked it up too. So we added like 1/10 of a mile onto the widening, and or we'd have been finished last week.
Well, I appreciate everything you've done. I being in my district, seeing all the work that was involved with widening the road, it's amazing. You know, we'd love to have all the roads widened, but it's, when you see it from start to finish like you guys have done, there's a lot to it, you know, in terms of everything starting from the survey to easements to moving mailboxes and driveways and putting in drainage tiles. It's just a lot to it, and you guys have done a really good job and had a lot of compliments, and I just wanted to share those with you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Robert, I know you've got to check it out with the water running and everything, with the drains that you've had and everything, all the tile and everything that you put in and everything is working good then, aren't you?
Yeah, we have been inspected by Mother Nature already, and it passed, so, yeah, so far. Yeah.
Is that grass slowing down?
No, not yet, but I should have another mower back up and going, I'm hoping by tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
That'll put me 3 mowers back out again, and we was running 2 shifts on mowing, and Friday night we were getting pretty close to caught up, so I cut them back to 2 shifts starting today. So we're gonna run that and see if we can't finish out. Yep.
No, it's hard to keep up with, man. It's rough.
Yeah, especially mowers go down 1-2 a week. So, yep.
I appreciate it.
All right, we're good.
Thanks a lot, Robert.
Thanks, Robert. At this time, under old business, we have an opening on the Ethics Board, and I'm going to make a nomination to appoint Jose Cabral from here in Shepherdsville, Kentucky to the Ethics Board, term to expire 6/30/2024. Got a second by 4th District Magistrate Rahal. Any discussion, gentlemen? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And due to the COVID, then I'd like to move action item 4, 5, and the amendment 13 with both Director Harden and Interim Director Walls to get them back to EMS.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Everyone should have received a list on their table. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, I'm requesting some additional hires. We had 4 new people start Monday, yesterday. We have 2 full-time paramedics, a part-time paramedic, and a part-time EMT. Still don't have what we need, but we're getting there. I'm quickly learning that EMS is a revolving door, and it's not just here, it's nationwide, because next week EMS 1 is putting out a webinar about this profession and how to recruit people into the career field and how do you retain them once you recruit them. So it's not just a Bullitt County thing. So, not take it as a personal. So with that being said, the list before you are the top two started yesterday, and then we have a part-time paramedic, Robert Orsman. He just moved here from Nebraska. He's going to be working at Fort Knox as public affairs. He has 16 years experience and would like to come here part-time to work on his days off. And then we have another individual, Mr. James Ford, part-time paramedic, wanting to work part-time on his days off from St. Matthews. Tim Carter and Jeffrey Hayworth, we have recruited from outside the state. They're both moving back home to Kentucky for family issues. One's coming from Massachusetts, one's coming from North Carolina. And they saw our advertisement out on Facebook, and they have friends in the area. Charles Rawlings is currently employed with us part-time, but would like to come on full-time. And we have a part-time EMT advanced who would like to come on full-time, and he's going to move into a supervisor position. He's actually been helping us out when we have a supervisor out on medical or just sick or whatever. He's been helping us out in the interim. And then we have another EMT basic, Sarah McConnell, who will start on the 24th.
Any discussion, Jim?
We're going to pick up 7 paramedics.
Right, but the part-timers, again, are just that. They're great to help us pick up when we need somebody, but they're not, I don't have someone that I can depend upon on the schedule every single day. Looking at the schedule, as it stands now, I still have on days 2 open, on A days, we still have 2 open paramedics. We have 3 on B days. We have 3 on B or A nights. We have a paramedic who's resigning. She's going off to PA school, so she leaves on August 30th. And then on B nights, we have 3 openings as well. We have a part-time guy filling in right now, so it's still.
At least part-time with y'all's women personnel, y'all want them back.
We try to,
Okay, thank you. Any other discussions, gentlemen? If not, I'll make the motion to hire the attached list of paramedics and the EMTs for EMS. Sam, call the roll, please. I'm sorry, I need a second. Sorry. Second by 4th District Magistrate Ray Hill and 1st District Magistrate Mitchell. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Director Harden, actions requested to accept the bid from Stryker from the chest compression systems, and also we'll pick both of them at the same time, the confidentiality agreement between EMS and hospice as well.
Okay, and this is an updated agreement. I'll do the confidentiality statement first. This is an updated agreement. We currently have one, but it's dated from 2013, and it's just an agreement between Bullitt County EMS, our 911 billing, and hospice when we transport a hospice patient. So it's just an agreement that we just need to update.
Need a motion on that?
Yeah, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the requested confidentiality agreement between Hospice Health, Bullitt County EMS.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to accept the confidentiality agreement between Hospice Health and Bullitt County EMS. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then Director Harden about the action requested on the Stryker chest compression equipment.
Yes, sir, if I could take just a minute. We talked about this a month ago. The chest compression system is covered under the CARES Act, under the COVID-19 money. Advertised in our local paper. We got one bid on it, and it came in, the bid was a little lower than what we expected. There is some discounts because of the CARES Act money. Each one of them was $12,955. We asked for 3. That's what we talked about here. paramedics will only use these, no EMTs. My request is to let me spend $41,625 for 3 Lucas chest compression systems.
Make a motion that we approve 41,625 for the chest compression, all those stuff that goes with it.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Ray Hill to approve the purchase of the Lucas devices for $41,625. A second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Kenny, we got the money out of it?
Yeah, this is with the CARES Act.
Yeah.
I knew it was, but that's what you got enough to do it. Okay. Because I do support this. This is very critical when you got them kids. Very, I tell you that. I really realize about someone in the family.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Again, back to new business. First reading and public hearing of ordinance number 20-12, Anthony Santoro Jr. Lucia, Rob.
Good morning. This is Planning Commission docket 2020Z-13. The owner is Anthony Santoro Jr. The location is 686 Alpar Lane in the unincorporated area of the county. He's asking to rezone 9.46 acres, more or less, and the comprehensive plan shows low-density residential. The Bullitt County Planning Commission held a public hearing on July 23rd, 2020, and based on that testimony, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the requested zoning change is in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan, and this will bring the property into compliance. So based on that testimony, the Bullitt County Planning Commission sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
This will be the first reading of Commonwealth, Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 20-12. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 9.46 acres, more or less, located at 686 Alpar Lane in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at a public hearing held by the Fiscal Court. Whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth, Kentucky. Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2020Z-13, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance take effect upon passage and publication and is required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of August 2020, to be given second reading and voted upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the first day of September 2020.
Thank you, Rob. Anyone here to speak for ordinance 20-12, Antonio Santoro Jr.? Hearing none. Anyone here to speak against Antonio Santoro Jr.? You may ask a question, Squire.
Question is on this, Alpar Lane. 9.46 acres. I read in here, how many houses are they going to try to put on that? Is this the gentleman?
Yes, there's one existing, and then he is keeping 5 acres, a little over 5 acres for himself to build a house, and then I think you're gonna sell off the remaining.
3 separate 1 acre lots. So there would be potentially 3 homes.
Is there septic, is there sewer back there? Is it?
No sewer, it would be all septic. We plan on getting that approved before, or tested before the launch.
That road's small.
30-foot wide
It's like halfway gravel and halfway paved. So the road that we're outlining was like this, and our road is going to go straight back to the property line. So it's going to be about there's a 30-foot easement there.
So you're going to add a road to it?
It's not going to be like a public road. It's just going to be a driveway, a wide driveway for access for the people there.
So you're going to have like a private, public road for 3 houses plus yours on that one?
More or less, yes, sir.
The reason I'm asking is now FHA's home, a purchase of a home now, FHA's, they're real tight on giving a loan on a private or a public road. So if you come in to do that, if you purchase a home, they try to do a FHA loan. A lot of times they're denying that unless it's a county road. Okay, so just in my mind, what I'm thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion? Felicia, first reading and public hearing of ordinance 20-13, River Homes, Inc.
All right, this is Planning Commission docket 2020Z-15. We need to let everybody in.
People in. We're actually giving them good sectors. Global water's going to be a problem.
I suggest we wait till the end.
Deal with that.
Then dismiss everybody and let those in?
That'll be fine if that's an agreement with the audience. We'll go through the rest of the business and we'll come back to this. Is that fair enough, Rob, with you and John? Okay. Are you all in agreement?
That's fine, man.
Is that okay?
Can dismiss everybody, and if it doesn't relate to this,
Yeah. Okay, so what we do need, we need a first reading of ordinance 20-14, repealing ordinance 2000 or 00-46, relating to the adoption of the Bullitt County Government Employee Handbook. And what this is, we have to do this to rewrite our handbook. Is that correct, Rob?
Correct. The current handbook was adopted by ordinance under state law as well as your administrative code. You don't have to do that. You can. So by repealing the old ordinance, the personnel policies still have to be approved by fiscal court. But instead of doing an ordinance with 2 readings, you can just do by a single vote. By repealing the old ordinance, that gives you flexibility when a new handbook's ready. This ordinance will keep the existing handbook in place unless and until you all just vote to replace it or change the policies. So it just gives a little more flexibility in the process in case there's a change in the law and you need to do something with a policy. Instead of having to wait for 2 readings and changing an ordinance, this lets you do it at a little quicker process. But in order to do that, we have to repeal the old ordinance first.
But the old one still stays active until we vote on it.
The language in this ordinance repealing it leaves the old one in place until you take some action to replace it or change your policies, or so until you vote on something else, the old one stays in place.
Okay. Is that wrong? How far along are we in that process? Do you know, Rob, where we stand?
We have a draft that our office is going through right now. So we're going through, Ron and I met a couple times and spent about 6 or 7 hours a couple months back. And now we're going back through it again and marking it up and making changes. So as soon as we can finish that process, and I hope to get through more of that last week, but our computers crashed in our office for a couple days. Then we had a water leak in our office, and then the state's computers went down on child support. So last week did not go as planned for our office. But, so I'm hoping to get that done as quick as I can.
To answer your question, we're close.
May I ask something on it? John's talking over it. I want to get in this. Both of you, see anything here that concerns us with this new ordinance?
I'm sorry? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said, is there any concerns that, John, are you, any concerns with this new ordinance with the handbook?
No, what it's doing, Dennis, it's repealing the old ordinance, but in the same document, it's keeping that in effect as far as purpose. So we're not going to be without a handbook. What it's going to do is going to still readopt it temporarily, but in the future, it allows fiscal court to make changes at any fiscal court meeting without having going through a ordinance, which is 2 readings and a publication. So it will save fiscal court a lot of time, and it will save them money in the future on your handbook as you amend it in the future.
Okay. Thank you for that.
All right. Okay.
This would be the first reading of Commonwealth of Kentucky, Bullitt County, ordinance number 20-14. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 0046 relating to the adoption of the Bullitt County Government Employee Handbook. Whereas the administrative code for the fiscal court of Bullitt County sets forth in Chapter 10, Section 5, that the judge executive shall be responsible for the creation, distribution, and maintenance of a personnel policy and procedure handbook, subject to the approval of fiscal court.
Yeah. All right.
Whereas the current personnel policies and procedures handbook, commonly referred to as the Bullitt County Government Employee Handbook, was adopted by Bullitt County Fiscal Court under ordinance number 00-46. Whereas fiscal court determines it's in the best interest to repeal ordinance number 00-46 and proceed with creation, distribution, and maintenance of a personnel policies and procedures handbook pursuant to the provisions of the administrative code. Now therefore be ordained by the fiscal court of Bullitt County, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, Bullitt County ordinance number 00-46 is hereby repealed in its entirety. The Bullitt County Judge Executive shall proceed with creation, distribution, and maintenance of a personnel policies and procedures handbook, subject to the approval of the fiscal court as set forth in the administrative code. Section 2, the current Bullitt County Government Employee Handbooks and the personnel policies and procedures contained therein shall remain in full force and effect until such time as amended, revised, repealed, or replaced by action of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court. Section 3, since section, subdivision, sentence, or clause of this ordinance be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction, then such portion shall be deemed a separate, distinct, and independent provision, and such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 5, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading at a regular meeting of the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County, Kentucky on the 18th day of August, 2020. To be given second reading and voted upon at the regular meeting of the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County, Kentucky on the first day of September, 2020.
Thank you, Rob. Action item number 6. This is second reading and action requesting on budget amendment 20-08. Treasurer Sharp, please.
Speaking on behalf of another meeting, so I don't know why she's here.
Ordinance number 20-08, amendment number 1, summary ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the county of Bullitt has realized unbudgeted receipts from the federal funds. Be it ordained by the fiscal court of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, the budget for fiscal years 2020-2021 is amended to A, increase the receipts of the federal funds by $1,282,798 and included unbudgeted receipts from account code 07, description federal funds in the amount of $1,282,798. Section B is the increase of the expenditure accounts for account code 01, description general fund in the amount of $582,148. Account code 03, description is the jail in the amount of $878. Account code 09, description EMS in the amount of $699,772. Please note the amendment is in summary form. However, you may request to view the amendment in its entirety in the county treasurer's office during normal business hours Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Section 2, the amounts adjusting the receipts and expenditure account in Section 1 are for governmental purposes. Approved by the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County, Kentucky on the 30th day of July, signed by Judge Executive Jerry Summers, approved as to form of classification the 5th day of August by State Local Finance Officer Robert Brown, and also adopted by the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County, 18th day of August, 2020, which would require action by this fiscal court.
Move the formal motion.
Second. Got a motion by, thank you, Treasurer Sharp. First District Magistrate Mitchell to approve the budget amendment 20-08 for the federal dollars coming back for COVID expenses. And the second by Third District Magistrate Laswell. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Treasurer Sharp, budget amendment 20-09, first reading.
And Judge, also, along with that amendment is also going to require an additional, I handed out a transfer. We had to do an addition to that budget amendment, which would add a line item to the EMS fund. And with that, we need to do a transfer dated for August 18th for your approval.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Brayhill, second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell to approve the budget amendment for the line item to be able to transfer funds to EMS. Sam, call the roll.
I'm sorry, who made that motion?
Joe Brayhill. Second by Laswell.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
You have old, she needs old nine.
Yeah.
Gotta wait.
We'll get you 09. Go ahead. You ready? 09.
Do you have a copy of the 09 with the transfer? I just have the 2008. Just never.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
That's fine, thank you.
This would be ordinance number 20-08, amendment number 2, summary form, and ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the county of Bullitt has lost unbudgeted receipts from the federal funds, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the budget for the fiscal year 2020-2021 is amended to A, increase the receipts of the federal funds by $396,114.16 and include unbudgeted receipts from account code 07, description federal funds, by $396,114.16. Section B is to increase expenditure accounts, account code 01, description general, in the amount of $90,865. Account code 09, description EMS, in the amount of $305,249.16. Please note the amendment is in summary form. However, you may request to view the amendment in its entirety in the county treasurer's office during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And 2, the amounts adjusted, the receipts and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes. Approved by the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County, Kentucky, this day, the 18th of August, 2020.
Thank you, Treasurer Sharp. Action item number 8, request to set the 2021 motor vehicle and water property tax rate. There's no increase. It stays the same at 15 cents on the 100. That's the recommendation. Any discussion, gentlemen? I need a motion. Yep. I have to send it to the PVA, but back to the state.
Keep the tax rate on the main vehicles and the water the same.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Brayhill to keep the tax rate the same on 2021 motor vehicle and watercraft property tax. A second by Magistrate Logsdon. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 9, are you going to have to read this whole ordinance, or what do you want to do, Keith? Yes, you can bring, if there's room to bring them in, yes. This is for the dumping, yes, sir.
There's a group out here.
That's fine. Candy, would you make sure they get the temperatures, please, or is Keith doing that?
They've had people on Hill Road with people in the building. It's like 30 acres to put a house. Or it basically doesn't dissipate as far as it goes through the process, get a permit, do what they need to do. I don't know if you're farther, yes, nobody's calling that. It was up 6 months ago.
What'd you say? I didn't hear what she said.
We'll do the other ordinance first.
Judge, would you like a sign-in sheet?
Yes, I've got one sign-up sheet already.
There's one.
There you go, sir.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You're gonna do the one.
He must have brought mine.
Thanks, Walt.
Jerry.
We'll do the one on the erosion and everything. Now.
Erosion, is this erosion? or
This
something?
erosion, yeah.
Erosion.
Erosion.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yeah. Okay. Ordinance 20-11, an ordinance relating to the regulation, control, and elimination of soil erosion and sedimentation resulting from land disturbance activities in Bullitt County. Rob, where'd he go? We have it in front of us. It's 18 pages.
Somebody needs to give it to us.
Yeah, I think we were advised there's going to be a reading on this today. We were just, I mean, our thing.
Oh, just present it?
Before you on it.
Okay.
Pardon? I prepared it.
Yes.
This ordinance was prepared at the request of fiscal court probably 5-6 months ago, if not longer. It was in regards a lot of fill, quote, dumping that was going on in Bullitt County. At that time, it was primarily Brooks Hill Road area, which has continued to have questions and people buying property and wanting to fill because of the hovels. It has never been voted on by fiscal court. They asked the county attorney's office to draft it. We drafted it. It does not.
So this is for review?
Yeah, for your review, because I don't think fiscal court has ever had any input into it. That it was given to all the fiscal court members with express requests to look at it. It is a very, very broad and specific ordinance. It does not completely outlaw any type of fill, but it requires a process to where anybody who is going to fill over a certain area, I think from memory, probably 200 or 300 cubic yards that can be used on a site, does not require a large permit. Anything above that, it's going to require detailed site evaluations. It's going to have to be forwarded to the Planning Commission for review and enforcement. But again, the ordinance has not been voted on. I don't know if the public has ever been given a copy of it. So the purpose of it today, I believe, was to bring it back before fiscal court to allow you to review it. If you want to have public comment on it, you're welcome to do so, but it's not particularly ready. It is actually ready, but it needs to be 2 readings. Okay. And Mr. Flaherty does not have a copy of it. Because of the length of it, we would not begin to read that today. We would do a summary preparation for it.
All right, that'll be fine. Is that okay, gentlemen, to review, and then at the next meeting, we'll...
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of information to receive here at one time, so it'd be great to have the ability to review it.
Well, once you adopt this, it will be effective, and it does create new conditions that do not occur in Bullitt County. You will not just be able to buy a place and start filling it with any type of material without a review by the government. So again, I want you all to look at it. If it appears to be in order, then fine. If you need to have modifications, if you will simply contact our office, we'll make the changes before you have your first reading.
Okay. Be great.
So this is a document that will require 2 readings, and then we'll adopt it?
It is an ordinance, so you'll have to have a first reading and a second in publication.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the ability to move that to the next meeting, the first reading, and have an opportunity to review this in the meantime. Does that suit you?
You'll need a motion.
Yeah.
Put that in a motion, or?
A table. Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion that we table this as a fiscal court have the opportunity to review the document that was prepared by the county attorney's office with a first reading the next fiscal court meeting.
Okay.
Regular scheduled fiscal court meeting.
Right. It'll be September 1. Okay. Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to table the discussion on the ordinance 20-11, and so the county attorney can prepare a summary and for further input from the fiscal court. We got a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell. Any other discussion? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, number 10, the request on the 2019 county tax settlement from the sheriff's office. It was quite detailed from the revenue that the sheriff collected for the various taxing districts in Bullitt County.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are we not even going to be able to discuss this document at all at this meeting?
Not today. It'll be at
None
the next.
whatsoever.
It'll be at the next meeting.
So then will be, the next meeting will be September 1st,
September 1st.
same location?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Even though that we can't discuss it, there's been accidents there that I was on. So we're going to delay it another month or so and let other accidents or let somebody get killed before we're hurt? And not even hurt? That's my concern.
That's the main concern, is safety.
Yeah, it's been going,
I don't think we should wait a month.
You got a full courthouse, or a full room that showed up just for this ordinance.
Correct.
Even if we discuss it today, we still have to have 2 readings before we can do anything with that.
At least you hear
You discussed it.
We just got the document this week.
I mean, the concern is he said it was written 5 or 6 months ago. We've been dealing with this for about a year now, and it's bad.
I agree totally, but we just can't just say yes or no. I mean, we're doing, everything in it looks good, but if I said yes to it, and I didn't read through it, and it didn't have in there what you wanted, you'd be really upset.
How do you know what they want if they can't say it?
Well, it's gotta be by the law.
Well, we appreciate you guys taking the time to do this and everything, but we kind of prepared, ourselves to be ready to come up here and at least voice our side of this. And as it turns out, you guys either didn't get or haven't even read it to the point where your side wasn't ready to listen to us. And that's a little bit disappointing, I gotta say, and I don't mean any disrespect whatsoever, but I'm telling you, that's just, to me, it's wrong.
You should at least do it.
Do you have
If it's school being virtual right now, it's not a problem. But when it goes back into session at Woods Elementary, there is going to be a problem.
Well, 100 more dump trucks a day running up down the road is a problem, whether school's in or not.
That is correct.
24 hours a day. 24 hours a day.
And at the least, that needs to be brought to a temporary halt. So we can talk about it, at least where you guys can read it and we can talk.
That's why we.
Well, I'll be square with you. Well, it's been read, but what we'll do, how many of y'all are on the sign-up sheet for talk about this?
I'm sorry?
How many of y'all?
I guess I don't know, I mean.
Yeah, we'll.
What to talk about?
Right, to make sure that what we hear what you're saying is in here. Is that fair enough? And what we can do, and here's what we will offer up as an administration is an opportunity to look at the ordinance. We'll put it online, or the proposed ordinance.
You can put the proposed ordinance online.
How's that? You all come up, tell us what you want today, and then we'll look at it. I'm sorry there's a confusion on this.
I'd be agreeable if every one of them got to speak today, and then we can have all that down.
Right.
We'll have the minutes on and everything, and we can incorporate everything that y'all said, do the minutes here and everything, and then we'll go through this, and then we'll be ready to read this on the first reading. It'll be September, but I'm going to listen to every one of you today.
Right, me too.
I'm in agreement with Dennis. If you came here, but no disrespect to you, but often as a court, we don't know why you're here necessarily. You know, an agenda's put out, but when people show up, we don't necessarily know until the sign-up sheet's taken. So even myself as a magistrate, I see this as on the agenda, but quite frankly, most of the people here, I thought was here for entirely another reason.
It's a lot.
So to Dennis's point, I would definitely want to respect you all as citizens and have the ability to talk, but I definitely, they've been working on this for a long time, the county's attorney's office, but having the final draft, I wouldn't feel comfortable, you know, making a vote today on an 18-page document without having the time to look into it a little bit further. But I'd definitely be okay going through the sign-in sheet, Judge, as Dennis had said, with those that have showed up today.
Let every one of you speak.
Yep. So just, so for this ordinance, if y'all raise your hands again and you come up, I mean, the sheets are lengthy. We thought you were here for the other. Yeah.
Like I said, there's some here for both.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Okay, so go ahead. You start first.
Sir?
Yes, come right ahead. And what's your name, sir?
Rod Lee. I'm the first one to sign in.
Oh, there you go. 165 Clapper Road, Brooks.
Yes, sir. I live on Clapper Road off of Brooks Hill. It used to be the old Brooks Hill Road before 9/11, then they renamed everything. I'm here to speak of the dangers on the highway up through there more than anything. What a man does on his own property, you know, I think that's his business pretty much, unless it interferes with the neighbors or anybody else up through there. And right now, what's going on up there on Brooks Hill Road, and let me get this right, see, the first one was, the one that's been a major problem is at 4223 Brooks Hill Road. That's been the one that's taken place since last year. And the next one is coming in is 4394 Brooks Hill Road, which is where the land was just recently purchased. And to my understanding, the gentleman is going to use it for dumping. I believe he owns a Goller Trucking Company. I'm not sure of that, but in any case, he's going to use it for dumping, continuing to dump up there, which is going to continue to put more traffic on that road than it was designed to handle, and which it's capable of handling. The weight limit, it exceeds the weight limit on Highway 1526, which is a state road, and that is Brooks Hill Road. Just the part that they've been working on here recently was from between mile marker 8 and mile marker 7. They had to close it down for 9 days. Now, I'd like for you to keep in mind one thing, that road was just repaved in June. And here in July the 20th to the 29th, they had to close it down for road repairs because of damage done by those trucks. And now they're having to reinforce the road to keep it from falling on over the hill, and they're coming back to close it down some more to put guardrails and stuff in. And according to the highway department here in Bullitt County, there'll be more closures to come because there's more, it's just continuing to break loose, and it's causing tremendous traffic problems and dangers. I mean, dangerous. I have personally had to pull over as far to the right as I could, especially going up Brooks Hill, and come to a complete stop to allow trucks to get by because they're over on the yellow lines. They're already impeding on the oncoming traffic. And that's a hazard, that's an unnecessary hazard. We don't need it for there. Now, our tax dollars is one that's having to pay to repave that road and to repair it. And that's coming out of the people that live there. You know, I retired from the Army in 1995. I moved up there at that time, moved here from Oklahoma, built a house, been there for 25 years now. And it seems like every 3, 4, 5, 6 years we're having to come in and to try and get something stopped that somebody's trying to do. Just, I don't remember the year and so forth, but it's right around, is that me?
Your time.
Oh, my time's up.
You got some good points, you'll get them me out.
Sorry, I can't, I can't finish what I'm trying to say here.
No.
But we've had several incidents where we've had to come in and try and put a stop to dumping and stuff up there on Brooks Hill. And we need your help. We need your help. When you look in here and you see all these residents, these are your neighbors and friends and so forth. You might have 1 or 2 people speaking up for it, but look at the ones who are trying to fight against it. I mean, that is our home.
Thank you.
Our smoking people killed up there.
Thank you, Mr. Lady.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Thomas Wheatley?
It's me.
Now I can see on here what they say, okay?
Yes, sir. You know, I share the similar concerns with this gentleman here about traffic. The speed at which these dump trucks are going up and down the hill is, I mean, it's just outrageous. The other big issue that we deal with is the time of day. You know, some of the houses on Brooks Hill Road, we sit, you know, close to the road.
All right.
The noise is just, you can't, I mean, my daughter, to put her to bed at 9 o'clock at night, she has to hear dump trucks riding up and down the road all night long. You know, that's what she's gotten accustomed to. The other problem that we have when you think about our kids is that the end of my driveway butts up from Brooks View Road up to Brooks Hill Road. Those dump trucks come through there sometimes too slow. They can't even make it up the hill. They back almost into my driveway to turn around, to go back down the hill, to pick up speed, to get back up the hill. You know, my kids are out there playing. I can't even leave them out there without watching them. The dirt everywhere on your house, you know, I take pride in my home. I just did $50,000 worth of siding work to my house. Pressure washed it, and within a week, I can literally write my name on my house and my windows because of the dirt coming off these dump trucks. I don't know what's getting hauled up there. I know we had the issue last year with the sludge. I don't know what's in these dump trucks, but I've been doing tally marks. Unfortunately, I work at Humana. I've been working at home due to COVID for the last 5 months. I've done a tally mark sheet every morning from the time I hear the first dump truck to the night when I hear the last dump truck. And on average at 4:45 every morning, them dump trucks start up and they don't stop till after midnight. And that's every day. Saturdays, now Sundays we get some relief, but Saturday mornings I sit outside at 6:15 drinking coffee and you can hear the dump trucks running up and down the hill. So I don't know what size hole, again, I'm with him. If you need to fill in a hole for a building or something, I get it, we live on a hill. I mean, I understand that. But I don't know what size hole you would need to have that many dump trucks running up and down the hill all day long, every day for the last, it's been over a year now. So thank you all for your time, I do appreciate
Let me
it.
ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What hours have you seen them operating up there?
I don't know
6
what.
in the morning, 10 at night? Or?
I mean, it's all day. I mean, it's literally, I've seen it after midnight. I've seen it, again, 4:45 in the morning, starting up. There's no set hours. And again, I don't know that one person needs, I don't know what size hole a man would have. I mean, you feel like a crater's up there, or a meteor or something's up there, the size of the hole that they're trying to fill in. I don't know what they're doing to the land with what they're filling in. I mean, that's just all that's my concerns. So, again, I thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wheatley. Kim, Haslans. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for letting me speak today. You know, when people own property, they do have the right to do pretty much whatever within the laws and things. And I know it's hard to adopt whatever paperwork the county attorney is trying to get together to do it, because it's a fine line there, and I get it. but it is crazy. We're having like 500 dump trucks a day, and then with the next property, it's 2 doors down from the other property. It's nuts. I live on Mount Elmira Road, which is right past that new purchase. And my neighbor dumps. He's been dumping for years. I love my neighbor to death, but it drives me crazy. This is what I was told from them, is somebody in this, somebody down here told them that they could dump whatever brush, mulch, whatever, because they burn firewood. Well, that's all grand. 50 years later, that sucker caught on fire. I was the house that's affected. I was the closest. So what you all do down here affects everybody. We almost couldn't live there for a year. The smoke was so bad. We couldn't use the air, the heat. We had to leave several weekends because you couldn't breathe. We have a dog, we had to take it somewhere. I mean, it was awful. And for a whole year, that burnt. So when you're putting in your paperwork about dumping dirt or fill, think about mulch. Mulch is highly flammable. I don't think we need a fire marshal to tell us that. When you pile it on for years, that sucker caught on fire from underneath in the earth. The quote from the fire department was, "There's not enough water in the whole Louisville, Ohio Valley to put that fire out." They wasn't even going to put water on it until we called the fire marshal and said, "Are you kidding me?" They told us that we had to sit up all night and watch it because we were volunteer fire department. They couldn't stay there. We were like, "Are you kidding? We can't stay up 24/7 with the fire." I got back at my house that night because we was letting them leave for a whole year. So dirt's great and all that, but when you get into brush and mulch and all these tree companies, look how many tree companies are up there now because they know they can get away with it and just throw it over the hill until that sucker catches on fire. And then I'm dealing with it. We couldn't breathe for a year. So, thank you for listening to me. And the dirty road, all the truckers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Jefferson County and other counties don't allow that stuff. But they think they're in Bullitt County and they can get away with it, not having a road sweeper, not watering that road. I have a white car, and trust me, it's never white no more. It's awful. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon, where you at, Brandon? What's your last name?
My last name is Paul, P-A-U-L.
Thank you.
Thank you all for hearing us. People spoke for me, covered a lot of my points, but some of the things I wanted to add in there. I live up in the Orchard Brook neighborhood, up on top of Brooks Hill Road, about a mile from where they're dumping. But my backyard backs up to the curve that goes around in the valley where those trucks jake brake because they've built up so much speed. They jake brake through the valley at night. You all asked how late they dump. I'm a firefighter in Louisville. I get up and leave quite early to avoid traffic because I work in the East End. So most mornings I'm leaving my house at 5 a.m. and I'm being passed by trucks coming up the hill. I have heard them jake braking at 1:30 in the morning. About 3 weeks ago, I watched a stream of 30 trucks between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. came up that road. There are nights where the jake braking of that truck is louder than the UPS planes flying over. That's got to tell you something about how close and how loud they are to these roads. In the past year, they've hit 3 school buses with children. So while that's not necessarily a function of dumping, that is a function of who is dumping on this property. Brooks Hill, at the top of it, in that valley, it's almost a 200-foot drop. There are no guardrails. If someone hits a school bus full of children and knocks it down the hill, and there's something we could have done about it because these dump truck companies who have no markings, most of them have no plates, there's no accountability. They dump rocks on the road, they dump boulders on the road. You call them, they say, "Oh, we'll look into it." There's no accountability because they think Bullitt County is their garbage can. And they think they can do what they want up here because traditionally they've been allowed to. I don't begrudge anybody for wanting to improve their land. That's their property. If they want to make it better, I can't blame them for it. That's not what's going on up here. It is a commercial operation. They have a Facebook page for J&E Excavation. It is a commercial operation. The pictures on their website are of their property where they dump. They claim that They are backfilling to build a horse barn. There's a horse barn back there, and they have built a new ramp where they destroyed that road up there to bring in more commercial traffic. They have a sign for the CB channel for the truckers to let them know when they're there. This isn't a backfill operation, this is commercial. And every year, when we've said something about it, we get, oh, well, he says he's just dumping spoils to improve his property. That's not what's going on. What I would ask in addendum to this is a time frame. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, sure. If you want to fill on your property, that's fine. 1:30 in the morning. I mean, I get there's nothing we can do about the UPS planes. They're a juggernaut, and that's a fact of life. They were flying over that hill before most of us built there. Fine. But we cannot allow commercial operations set up shop up there. At the corner of Mount Elmira and 1526, another trucking concern just bought that property. They say they're going to store some trucks there. They're going to dump there. The residents that was also spoken about, Watson Trucking, they wanted to dump there as well. We put a stop to that, and I hope you all can help us put a stop to this. Thank you.
What did you say about the 3 school buses? I couldn't understand.
Sure. Last year, on 3 different occasions, the school buses were struck.
School buses were hit by dump trucks?
Hit by the dump trucks. Now, nothing serious. They clipped mirrors, clipped sides. Those roads aren't equipped for overloaded dump trucks. I get they're trying to stay away from going off the side of the embankment. I get that. But that road, there's not enough room for 2 commercial vehicles to pass each other.
Okay. I thought that's what you said, but I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Okay, on the sheet, anybody else wants to speak about the dumping? Okay. All right.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Hammonds. I live at 987 Brooks Schoolhouse Road. I am the owner of the Brooks Improvement Club. We manage and maintain the Brooks Ballpark. I mean, within an hour's worth of time, at maybe 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, when everybody's done off the field and we're dragging the field and maintaining it for the evening for the next people to come in, we do see, and at one point I've seen at least 12 dump trucks go up and down that road within an hour. And that's not at its peak. So you can only imagine how that is. Also, I'm also concerned about the people coming out of the ballpark and with the dump trucks flying down. I am really concerned that somebody's going to come out of there. They're going to have their family with them because they're going to be, going to and from the ballpark, and they're going to get hit. So that's just one of my major concerns. And also just the concerns everybody has. I just want to, revoice that. Just with Amory and I, my little girl, were almost hit the other day head on. Okay, we were coming from the ballpark. I had the trailer on the back, the lawnmower on the back, and it's just her and I. And here comes this guy. I mean, he is just flying down that hill. Well, we have nowhere to go. I mean, if we go off, there's an embankment right there. So he went ahead and straightened it up, and I mean, I'm beeping my horn and throwing my hands in the air, but just that feeling is a terrible feeling for anybody to have, seeing that. So I guess that concludes my statement. I just wanted to make sure that I got up here to speak as well while I was here.
Yeah, and to help me a little bit, can you repeat your name one more time? You were a little quick on it, please.
No, go ahead. What'd you say? I apologize.
If you would repeat your name one more time.
My name is Lindsay Hammonds.
Do what now?
Lindsay Hammonds.
Lindsay Hammonds.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lindsay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. So what I will do, Mr. Levy, if you'll approach the bench, please, for just a minute.
Sir.
If you'll come up here, I'll give you this, and you can sort of distribute it around for those who don't have internet. We'll put it on the internet. That's the proposal that I've looked at, and you can bounce through it. I think you'll see most of your concerns were addressed in it by listening to this group.
Okay.
But anything that is missing, don't hesitate to call us. Okay?
All right, sir. Thank you all very much.
John, is there anything in here, though, that discusses, I know we had brought this up at one of the meetings before, and it seems like traffic is the #1 issue. Is there anything in here that restricts when trucks, I know we had this conversation in a previous meeting, and it was hard with third shift and different things, but is there anything in this draft particularly that addresses a time period?
Well, that ordinance was drafted or
refilling.
Yeah. It's not drafted for traffic trucks.
Right.
Obviously, if you're gonna have a construction site or a field site or a house site, you're gonna have traffic. We can go back and review it. We can put ours in there without an issue because you don't need to be running trucks 24 hours a day. You don't need to be running them 2 or 3 o'clock at night. So when we do that, we'll have to address it to where it is not going to be excessively oppressive. People have to be able to carry on a business. We'll probably look at ours that would be more appropriate, like 6 a.m. To a cutoff time of maybe 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night. So we have at least a downtime where the traffic's not going up down the hill. So we'll look at that and then do the court's determination of what type of bars that you're going to put on an operation that would either be a commercial or a field site that's going to be used for a home.
Because that's my concern without knowing, because if they're dumping the right thing, we could sign all the documents in the world today, but that's not going to restrict the traffic, and that's something that may, I don't know, Walt. But I sympathize with a lot of people here today. My mom was hit head on by a dump truck when I was in high school, and my brother was stat flighted to Louisville, and my mom still can't walk right to this day. So, I mean, dump trucks are scary when they're out on the road, and there they are.
I noted on my notes that we'll look at that ordinance and try to put something in there that will also go beyond the dumping and going to the traffic and timeline as to when trucks can operate that.
Okay.
The 3 things that I did want to say that we're really, really concerned about it right at this time and everything is what they're actually dumping over there. And there's no one that's looking at this to see what they're dumping, the time of day that they are dumping. And so those are some of the things that we're looking at, and amount of territory. Then you're looking at an acre of ground, and that's kind of what we're looking at is an acre of ground, which is 210 feet, 210, which amounts to 43,560 square feet. That's not a large area, and that's to get a permit to do that. And those 3 things that we're kind of looking at right now, and anybody that's got any other concerns than those 3 things right there, get it to us and everything. Let us get it in the ordinance and everything to where we can put some teeth into this thing.
What I think is it's not necessarily what they're dumping as much as it is the traffic that's causing people to go off the road.
Well, we're concerned about that too and everything.
But a lot of times, if you stop what they're dumping, a lot of times that goes hand in hand. You'll stop the traffic. So, but my point to John, the county attorney, was, a lot of what we're hearing is traffic. So, I mean, that's why I think we really want to look at this close, because we could adopt any ordinance today, but if they are doing the right thing and still just doing it in large quantities, it's not going to solve the traffic problem. So we want to make sure when we do this, we do it right and everything's addressed, not only improper, illegal dumping, but also trying to restrict maybe the traffic flow for the residents.
And that is very important.
When I ask it, I mean, I get the 6 to 10 thing, I mean, it still has those trucks going up that road at dark. It's dark out, like families are trying to congregate outside. I mean, we really need to put some thought into those. I mean, 6 to 10 is still kind of, I mean, you still got trucks going up down that hill at dark.
And they're still coming over on the other oncoming traffic and so forth.
Do you want to share that website, or is it our county website?
Yeah, it's our
that
county
they can post that on
website. Yeah,
Candy,
we'll
or-
post it on there. Sir?
Can we also look at the weight restriction?
Right.
That road is rated for 55,000 pounds. These trucks going up there have gross vehicle weight rating over 60,000 pounds. So many times, there's 60, 70,000 pound trucks running up a 55,000 pound road. That's why that road is destroyed as bad as it is.
That's why the highway department told me that that road was not rated for those trucks classifications, and they shouldn't even be on there. What they told me is they had a county permit to dump, but they're using a state road to get to their dump spot. The state doesn't have any say-so on it, and they're the ones that have to maintain the road, and we're the ones that have to pay the
Sheriff, is there any way you could make a request for Department of Transportation possibly to look at this while we're...
If I may, we've been down that road last year
soon after we came in office. Judge and I, we spoke. In fact, the judge and I spoke. And we went out there and we did any number of things to try to take that. Contacted the State Department of Transportation, their Vehicle Enforcement Division, was told those trucks are not violating state law at the weight that they are. I worked at having state DOT vehicle enforcement folks come out there to look at weighing vehicles. That road is not prohibitive with regard to the state regulations on what they're hauling. You can haul more on that state highway, weight-wise and dimension-wise, than they can haul on I-65. That's what we found with the State Department. So your issue about changing the weight limit on it, you're going to need to take that up with your state senator, your state representatives, and the governor's office. That would be the push on that. Now, with regard to the speed, we can't change the speed on the road because the state highway department sets that. But we can take and deal with if they are going over whatever that speed limit is, and I don't recall right now. 55 miles an hour. Okay, if they're going over 55 miles an hour, then we can do something about that. But if they're going 55 miles an hour, then we can't. Now, frankly, a loaded dump truck strikes me coming down that hill at 55 miles an hour. That's faster than I would want to be facing it. But that be that as it may, that's the situation that we have there.
Well, how about the traffic going up the hill? Because when they're fully loaded, I mean, they're not even going 5 miles an hour at the top of the hill, and you've heard them say they got to stop back in the driveway and go down and try again.
Well, you know, when somebody starts trying to go up the hill and they run out of steam, I'm not in much of a position to be able to come out and say, I'm going to give you a ticket because your car didn't go fast enough, or I'd be taking everybody that they have difficulty, their car breaks down or whatever. That's not, it's becoming disabled going up there now. Again, the county attorney, I don't want to get in his lane or the magistrate's lane in terms of how to deal with it. They've got a pretty good idea. It's dealing with the site is what somebody wants to drive a dump truck, if their hobby is driving a dump truck, and they want to drive on a state highway at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, or just back and forth all night long, they have a right to do that in Kentucky and so forth. But we can regulate what happens at the site. And most of them don't have a hobby of driving a dump truck. They're doing it to make money. So there you go. And then we're crossing over the double lines once the other that's an offense, yeah.
Okay.
Now, bear in mind, generally I have 22 patrol deputies covering 300 square miles. My best day, I've got 5 patrol deputies out. Cost about $100,000 a year to add another deputy. So.
Yeah, and we appreciate all this, and like I said, you have the document. It'll be on our website for review, and anyone who can't get on a website, we'll be happy to make you a copy of it as well. So that was a good, healthy discussion. So moving forward, number 10, actions requested on 2019 county tax settlement from the sheriff's office. And what this is, I'm not trying to help you out, but I'm trying to summarize this, is that the sheriff's office collects taxes for every taxing district in Bullitt County and even the city of Shepherdsville. Thank you, Walt.
If I may, all that being said about I'll take and say something to Dr. Crocat and try to have somebody get out there and spend a little time in the setting and see what they see. Okay, so, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the court, today we bring our quietus, our settlement for the tax. We operate on the taxes. There is a tax calendar that operates the whole year, and we're now getting to the position where the county clerk, between now and starting in July, but then between then and the end of August, he's dealing with the delinquent bills, and then come 1st of September, we need to start working where we start getting the tax bills out to us so that we can get them out to the people and get some money into you guys. So, what we did in 2019, for the 2019 year, we collected a
total of $83,781,776.22 in tax revenue. That's in all categories. We collected 99% of all the taxes that were assessed. The county total collection amount for the county itself, and again, out of that $83,781,776.22, the fiscal court knows this, you all may not. People talk about their county taxes and how the tax bill, and they show it. The county gets a very small percentage of all that tax bill, and they use that to operate everything you see in the county. The ambulance service, the sheriff's office, the road department. And they get a minuscule amount of that tax that we collect. Most of it goes to the school system. That's our future. We all want to take care of that. A bunch of it goes to the state, and then special tax districts get a fair bit of it. So out of that total of almost $84 million that we collect, the county's portion of that is $6,436,789.70. So keep that in mind when they're stretching your tax dollars about as far as they can get them stretched. The E911 fee total collection amount was, and that's for operating the E911 system. And again, I want to let everybody, the fiscal court, they took the bull by the horns a few years ago and agreed to expend money to come up with a outstanding radio system, because we have a number of areas in this county that police officers, EMS, ambulance, et cetera, had no radio service in Bullitt County. The new system that they're soon going to launch is outstanding. But we receive, there is a tax, and that money's going for good purpose. It's the E911 tax, and the collection on it is $1,192,608. So, anyway, after approval by the fiscal court of our tax settlement, the county judge will be asked to sign it after it's approved by the court, and then it'll be recorded at the county clerk's office, and will go to the state, the local finance officer, who will approve it as well, and then the Commonwealth will issue the quietus, and that'll put us in a position to start back over again to work at collecting taxes for 2020.
Thank you, Sheriff Scholler. Any questions, gentlemen? Or
I do want to thank Clark for the breakdown he did put on this and everything, but when you look at the amount of money that is taken in and how it's all distributed out, I really appreciate the way you let the people know about this, but when you got your special taxing districts and your state, the smallest, usually the smallest one on here is what fiscal court gets. And then we got to take care of everything in the county here, all your buildings, your county roads, EMS, jail, all these different things and everything that it's got to come out of this thing somewhere.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate Walt speaking on this, but a lot of people just don't know.
Yeah.
They think that we get all that money and we distribute it out everywhere. We don't. We just don't get it. So, the smallest portion on here is what we get. Thank you, Walt.
Thank you. And gentlemen, I need you to vote on that.
We are.
Put the judge in a position to sign it, and then get moving on.
I'll be glad to put it in motion.
Second.
any other discussions? Bill or Joey? Either one, okay. Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Second District Logson to accept the 2019 county tax settlement as presented by the Sheriff's Office. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Okay.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Number 11, actions requested to reappoint Gina Carnell to the Bullitt County Tourist and Convention Center. Term expires September 30th, 2023. Gina works for Kenny Sumner at Knob Creek Gun Range. She's a current appointee to the board, and tourism is, until COVID hit, was putting the county forward in a great light.
I'll second the motion. She lives in my area. She's a very hard worker.
Yeah.
Very much and everything. I'm really proud of the work that she does.
Okay. Well, thank you. Any other questions? Joe, Joey? Okay. Got a second by First District Magistrate Mitchell. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Thank you. Appointment in action item number 14, the appointment of Tina Ferris to the Southeast Fire District Board. I'm going to make that motion. Got a second by Magistrate Rayhill. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And before we read the first reading of public hearing ordinance 2013, does anyone need to go out and wash their hands?
Just a second, Judge. She
Yes.
needs to get called up here. We didn't have that on that addendum,
Who was the person for the Southeast Fire Board?
Ms. Ferris, Tina Ferris, T-I-N-A, F-A-R-R-I-S.
A-E-N-A, Ferris. Did they have a date on it? I'm sorry.
Yes, it'll be in 3 years.
3 what, I'm sorry?
Pardon?
What was the date?
In 3 years from now.
3 years, okay.
Yeah.
June 30th, 23.
Yeah, 23. Yeah.
Thank y'all for doing that.
Thank you, Chief. Does anyone need to go out and take a break or anything before we start with the ordinance for?
I got it.
Okay, 2013. Go ahead. We'll take a 5-minute recess.
I'm gonna grab me a water. I'll be right back.
See you September. I'll go out there.
These are still hot.
Yeah, they're I'm going to.
Are you better? Feel better?
I'm blind.
How long you been home?
I've been out of the hospital 2 weeks.
I was wondering, I couldn't even call. You went in and you were over at Baptist Eve.
Yeah.
Basically just wore out, hard, and collapsed.
My sugar, oh yeah.
What happened? The sugar?
The sugar.
Diabetic?
Sugar went up almost 900. Said they never seen a sugar that high. I went into a diabetic coma. I was.
Really?
Yeah. My kidneys are failing.
Diabetes and take care of everything.
Yep. I'm blind. I can barely make you out.
Really?
Hopefully, they said that my vision might come back, but it'd probably take about a month.
Okay.
But kidneys.
How old are you right now?
68.
Yeah, you're probably younger than me, so have you had this a long time?
Yeah.
Just got out of control?
Yeah, I quit taking all that damn pills. I was on the pill. And I thought I was at the lake and I kept following and passing out, and I thought it was my blood pressure, which it was. My blood pressure, because I'd lost 45 pounds the past year, had gone back to normal, and I was still taking blood pressure medicine. So I thought that's what it was. So I started having them stabbing pains in my back. Well, I knew something was wrong. Well, she got me there to Baptist East just in time, buddy. They said 5 minutes. I'd been deader than a doornail. So now she shoots me up with insulin 4 times a day.
Good for the time being. Maybe you get off of it.
I know it. Thank you, John.
Sorry that you having all that trouble.
speak for a few minutes?
Oh, yeah. We don't need to have an executive session yet.
What we'll do, let's go through
What he has to say, he's asking God.
So, you read,
Planning commission, which ain't gonna have anything to do with his case.
okay, so you read the 2008.
I read the second reading, the 2008 one,
Budget Amendment 1.
and that was passed.
Okay, then, what was the deal with this? The transfer with the
Okay.
budget amendment? So then they
That
just,
was, I gave you a copy right here. This could not be done until this second one was passed.
Okay. So then
Because,
this was done.
the reason was because this amendment, probably got a copy over here.
Yeah.
Okay. This amendment had, okay, this amendment had a line added to our budget.
If it starts getting
Not previously. So I could not do this transfer, have the transfer approved until after this.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so this is just gonna be just another transfer, just like the other ones are?
Yes.
Okay. So we, because I know they made a motion, but I was like, proven, like I was confused. Okay.
I couldn't do it with the other transfers because a line item, look.
You make him stay here.
Right here,
Can't even
see this
see.
line item?
We gotta be out of here by 11:30, quarter to 12. Got that open house.
And it's very specific how these funds, when you do the amendment, when it comes in and you put it back into your budget, it can only be put back where they spent it from. But I had to add a new line item to our budget because of this billing system they're using for EMS.
So, you need, Jerry to get you anything or anything?
No.
I didn't say that about me, I said Jerry.
I had to add this.
He said he'd take care of it.
Put funds from this federal grants, or these federal funds into that until it was approved. So when I did the transfer, I transferred it out of this fund, the book, because we put $699,000 right into it, and I transferred it into this, but it had to be after this was approved.
So that was this, then, okay. Thank you for explaining that. But there was no 2009, it was just 2008 Amendment 2.
Okay. The first reading, public hearing of ordinance 20-13, River Homes, Inc. Felicia?
2020Z-15. The applicant owner is River Homes, Inc. They are asking to rezone the property from R1 to R3 residential, located at 300 Griffey's Lane. The size is 42.116 acres, more or less, and the comprehensive plan shows agricultural rural residential. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this case on July 23rd, 2020, and based on that testimony, the Planning Commission found that the requested zoning change is not in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan, but there is existing R3 zoning that this parcel of land adjoins. The opponents objected to this proposed zoning change on the following basis: traffic, drainage, school capacity, and density of the proposed development. So based on this testimony, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends this requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court with the following restrictions. Number 1, River Homes, Inc. agrees to widen the pavement on Griffey's Lane to a 22-foot minimum along the length of his road frontage all the way out to 1020 Coral Ridge Road. Number 2, will guarantee there will be no problem with Judith Jones water lines when they place the sewer lines below them in the 15-foot easement. If the water lines are broken, Mr. Lay will repair them at his expense. And the address of that property is 279 Griffey's Lane.
And number 3, no more storm water runoff at a faster rate from this property than what is currently being discharged at this time, and that there will be no multifamily apartments built on this property. With those recommendations, they are asking also to delete the restrictions 2 through 6, and that was from the rezoning of 2012 Z-25, when they rezoned a portion of the property to R3 for multifamily apartments. Those multifamily apartments are not being proposed on this new proposal, so we will delete those actual restrictions that are recorded in the county clerk's office with the new restrictions for the single-family development.
Thank you, Felicia. Rob?
This will be the first reading of Commonwealth, Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 20-13. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to R3 residential with restrictions. The property in question is 42.116 acres more or less, located at 300 Griffiths Lane in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at a public hearing held by the Fiscal Court. Whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. And therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth, Kentucky. Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2020 Z-15, is hereby changed from R1 residential to R3 residential with restrictions. Section 2, this ordinance take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, seeing section provision of part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be effective and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of August 2020, to be given second reading and voted upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the first day of September 2020.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, anyone here to speak for Coral Springs development? Okay.
Can I start this with you? Pass him on. Good morning, Judge, members of the court, Madam Clerk, Mr. County Attorney and Sheriff Eric Ferris, appearing here today on behalf of the applicant, River Homes, Inc. With me today, Allison and Chris Lay and Johnny King, all partners in this development. And I want to thank Ms. Renfro for agreeing to help put our presentation up in front of you. If anybody did not get a PowerPoint copy, please let me know. I think I had enough copies for everyone. This property is up on in the Coral Ridge area off of Griffiths Lane. We're providing you with a map that shows you the outline of the property. It's 42 acres, as I believe Felicia explained. It sits back off of the road behind a mix of residential, industrial, commercial businesses. This front half of this property, the front 23 acres, was previously rezoned after it went through the process and on appeal to the Bullitt Circuit Court. It was rezoned and the court ordered that the front part of the property be rezoned to R3 with apartments and certain restrictions that applied that I'll talk to you about then. The rear remaining 19 acres or so was zoned R1 at that time. So it currently sits, as we apply, R1 in the rear and R3 for apartments in the front. Okay, thank you, Candace. The River Homes group has put together an application or a proposed development plan with the help of Bluestone Engineering, Chris Crumpton, who's done a number of projects in Bullitt County that I've worked with him on. You can see that in the front, this property will have one entrance off of Griffiths Lane only. And it will have streets that will serve it on through the back of the property. Initially, the first portion of it will have approximately 79 lots in the sections 1 and 2 of the R3 zoning that is being sought. And then the rest of it, which could number approximately 60 to 70 more lots in the back, depending on the need, the size of the retention basin that will be needed for the drainage issues, and on how the land lays out there, because it is a rolling track. I want to say up front that this property will not result in more than 150, to the best of our calculation, 150 total lots right at this point. It is all that can be fit on this property with its design. And I also want to point out that that sets a maximum number of living units. Currently, as we stand here today, nothing happens. This property is zoned R3 in the front, R1 in the back. You could have nearly twice the density as that sits, nearly 250 to 300 living units in the apartments on the front, residential, R1 residential in the back. So what this proposal does, it allows the development to utilize the R3 size lots, the 60-foot wide lots, which are in high demand right now by developers and builders and buyers, to be able to construct homes on those 60-foot lots with the R3 setbacks, because people don't care so much about a yard anymore. They care about a nice home on that lot. So what we're doing here is allowing them to have that R3, but we are cutting back by nearly 1/2 the number of homes, the number of living units, the number of families with 2 cars that are going to be on that property. So I'm going to emphasize more than once, because you're going to hear concerns about traffic. As it stands right now, it would be twice as heavy as what we're proposing here. Okay, Candy, thank you. The folks sitting before you haven't just come out of the turnip patch on building. These folks have an experience over the years in Lazy River North, Cherry Hill, in Bullitt County, and in Jefferson County, places like Monticello. Let's see some of the other names that may not be as familiar. Jefferson Trace, Ivy Hill, Southern Breeze. Fox Chase is another Bullitt County development that these folks have all worked on. Currently, some of the newer things you see in their very, very nice homes in Cherry Hill are the product of these folks. So I wanted to be able to give you, and Chris, Allison, and Johnny wanted you to be able to see the product that they intend to build on these lots. And it is the very style homes you see on this design. It's typically a 2 to 3 bedroom, a 3-bedroom home, 2-bath, with a garage, so that these houses will have a place to park inside, as opposed to, again, if we were with apartments right now, you'd have outdoor parking. So this style home here, and then the next one, Candy, thank you. The ability to, if we could go to the next one, please, ma'am. The ability to put R3 homes on this development is a result of the authority from the Bullitt County Sanitation District, the approval of the Sanitation District of this plan to connect with this number of homes. And you'll see a letter from Jerry Kennedy from less than a month ago that does indicate that sewers are available and that there is sufficient capacity to service this property. Now, We are pleased to be here with a recommendation from the from the Planning Commission to the Fiscal Court that this project be approved. We had a very long hearing on this matter before the Planning Commission over at the Convention Center, and 22 folks signed up, 22 folks spoke and gave their opinion about it. We all listened to that, and we were given the opportunity to address those concerns. And we would appreciate the opportunity today, after they've spoken, to be able to briefly respond and answer any questions that you have. But the Planning Commission incorporated these findings and conclusions into their decision, their motion to take this to you with the recommendation that you go ahead and rezone it as we're requesting. We've got all of the adjacent development near I-65, the industrial, commercial, and retail facilities that are just up over the railroad by the interstate. We all know that had we, those of us who grew up here in the county and are old enough will remember, 50 years ago, if there'd been opposition to development, we wouldn't have the Brooks interchange at all. That is not that old of an interchange. 30 years ago, if we had opposed development, we wouldn't have the homes that all of these people are in, the R1 homes that live around this property. 20 years ago, if we'd opposed development, we wouldn't have had Brooks Elementary School. We wouldn't have all of those, the new Brooks Elementary School. We wouldn't have all those nice retail facilities, the hotels, the things that bring in the income to our county and into Hillview that we do. So it's important that we try to keep up with the demands, provide a home for the people who are going to be coming here. Bullitt County is still red hot in commercial and industrial growth, and there's more to come, and we need a place for these homes to be. These homes are going to be in the $200,000 to $300,000+ range, single-family purchases. Brooks Interchange is one of the closest to the airport, South Louisville industrial developments. We're less than 1 mile from Brooks Elementary School to service this property. Very large school that had the pleasure of representing the board when that land was purchased and that school was built. And really what we're doing here is that we're upzoning this property from the R3 apartments to the R3 for single-family dwellings. We are, again, reducing density. We cited a number of provisions of the comprehensive plan. One of the specifics is that one that talks about in the Hillview area, which this is in the Hillview area, higher density residential uses are appropriate for areas served by sewers, and that is exactly what we are able to do here. We're providing adequate wastewater management measures. In addition, Residential Strategy 2 talks about the importance of encouraging development of a suburban community in a manner having a variety of houses and types, and that's what we are also seeking to do. But here, instead of the apartments, we're going with these single-family homes. So all of these comprehensive plan citations are included in our record. We're part of the recommendation of the commission. I won't bore you with going through all of that today. When the previous, we could go to the old restrictions, when the previous zoning took place, there were a number of restrictions that were put in place, many of which dealt with the size of the apartment buildings. So as part of our request, we've asked the Planning Commission, and that's part of their motion and grant, subject to your approval, is that the apartment-related restrictions go away, and instead we go to the new restrictions, which is the next list of slides, and which were read to you by Ms. Harper. and which address the road width for Griffiths Lane, separation of sewer and water lines for at least one property, which is a regulated mandate in any event. Stormwater is certainly an issue. I'll talk about that in a second. And we are restricting it to no apartments. My clients have already signed that restriction and returned it. So that has already been executed by them, subject to approval of this ordinance. I know that stormwater drainage or runoff is a concern. Currently, there's nothing been done to this property except logging. The development, when it's approved and there's a permit that's allowing for construction to take place for this, and they know that they can use the layout that we have provided, there will be retention basins. Recently, as you all were discussing during your transportation report, we've had unseasonable rains, huge downpours, and recently there was a 6-inch rain event in a 24-hour period in this area. So you may be presented with information related to that rain event. And believe me, I sympathize and empathize with people who've suffered from that. I too have property where that has happened. But we have to consider a couple of things. One is the timing of that and the degree of it, and then two, the opportunity for my clients to be able to use this plan and to correct it with the proper retention basins. By law, I mean, we're doing it by restriction, but by law, we cannot let excessive water run onto a neighboring property owner. We cannot do it. And we've agreed to restrict it to that so that people don't have to go to court for that, but rather they go to the planning commission and they say, or the enforcement officer, and they have that option instead of having to go to court to enforce the common law drainage issue. Anything else, folks? That's the story. That's what we want to do. It's going to be a nice development, and these folks want to bring some nice neighbors in. So we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Let me ask you on this retention basin and everything, with an inch of rain on acre of ground produces 27,154 gallons of water. How big is this retention basin going to be?
And one of y'all, you want to step up?
It's with our engineer, and of course, and you guys well know, it's amount of acreage per grassland and then per hard surface, and that's determined through the engineer by the depth and size and the seeping point where it does allow it to leave the retention basin at a slower pace than just a quick runoff. And then we actually have marked right now in over 3 spots just in section 1 and 2. And that's been determined, like I said, by the size of the property and the hard surface versus the grass surface for it to seep off more slowly. And Chris and I went out there Friday after a big rain, and there were some issues. Like I said, they had almost 6.1 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. And we witnessed some runoff, but I don't think anything we could have done would have prevented or caused that much rain or stop at one time.
So you're saying that the retention basin that you're going to build and everything will take care of over 6 inches of rain in 24 hours?
That's what the engineer is telling us. I mean, I've not done the math, but there was a requirement, he said, by the state of Kentucky to do their math themselves about the depth, size, compared to your green space to your hard surface, and it needs to hold this amount of rain. And I think they do a 10-year study, and based on your 10-year, is that what they do the calculations for that time period?
Are you able to point out those?
Yeah, so if you see coming into the subdivision off of Griffiths Lane to the left, that's going to be the first retention basin in that side.
The T on the right.
Yes, right at the T, and that's going to be the largest one. And then that first area to the right of the T where you take a right, that's going to be the second retention basin just for that area there. And then as you go up the main road right to the right, that's going to be the third main largest one. And then once we do the back section, because once you cross over to that second left in that cove, the water goes back, yes, in their direction. So we're going to do another retention basin in the back of the property, which allows it to go out to the other direction. So we don't know how big that's going to be yet because we haven't had that layout of the concrete or the grass surface to see.
Okay, you're saying you're going to have 4 retention basins?
Well, 1, 2, 4.
4 of them?
It's the one that's going to be back here. So.
Yeah, we're totaling everything, and those 4 totaling everything, and we'll take care of over 6 inches of rain in 24 periods.
Well, I mean, if Mother Nature floods us, I mean, I can't say it's going to hold back what Mother Nature gives us, but we're going to do all we can within that 10-year surface period to make sure it does slow anything down that would occur. You know, right now, I mean, everybody knows there's water problems, and you're getting ready to hear them tell you that. Now, and in the past, there was water problems, so we're going to try to slow this down. And even with us doing a sewer system, everybody knows, like, once you dig that trench and you fill it full of gravel, it also assists with water leaving the property. Just by seeping through the ground, hitting that trench that's underground, it helps also get rid of just regular rainwater outside. And we're doing storm drains, curbs, and the whole subdivision to not just let it run off in somebody's yard. We're trying to control exactly where it goes and curbing.
That's one of my questions and everything. The other question I've got and everything, on the traffic situation and everything, I mean, we've got a major problem with traffic and everything, that's interchange going out from 1526 and 1020 going into that section. How do you propose to do it?
Well, like we talked about,
make this situation some way or another, or help this situation or whatever, but when you look at this amount of cars, regardless of whether you've got houses or whether you've got apartments or whatever, you're looking at a lot of.
We're hoping to address that.
Back the other way, and I turned and went back Nelly Way and went on to Wilderness. That road is not safe to even 2 cars on the road.
Right. That's what
that situation right there. Right. But all that traffic and everything, probably 98% of it is trying to get out 1020. So how do you got any kind of plan to get up to the Deputy Department of Transportation?
Well, and we do want to reach out, because like Eric and I talked about at the last meeting, and unfortunately with traffic, you have to have a problem before it's solved. So we're hoping by adding traffic that we can assist by going and recommending widening the spot going over the tracks, maybe doing a left-hand, right-hand, and a straight curve, and maybe hopefully even getting a red light put in there. But that's a state road, and we cannot push them any faster than, I mean, I would love to, yes. And we will have that recommendation to the state to help this out, just to help everybody else out with traffic as well, because I know that's a problem. But right now, there's semis coming down that same road, and then he's never even said that he would help widen it. And we're going to help them out as well by widening that road going down Griffiths Lane. It's going to be probably 500 feet or so, and it's going to be 22 feet wide, and like right now, it's like 16 feet.
Andy, can you pull up that slide number 2? Is that where you're proposing to do the 22 foot from, is that first, if you're going from Coral Ridge?
Right.
Is the entrance into the subdivision, so you'll be widening the road from the entrance of the subdivision out to Coral Ridge?
All the way down to 1020, yes. To 22 feet from that blue corner left, like coming in Griffiths Lane, you got one blue corner and that left blue. From there all the way down to 22 feet. Right where our entrance of our subdivision starts.
Okay.
And we're going to widen that whole road 22 feet all the way down.
And that's about 16 feet now.
Yeah, it's not much what you see there right now, unless you buy the right of way and do whatever you have to do it and everything. But what we've got there is not adequate to take care of the traffic flow. And I go back and I think about the ruling that Circuit Judge Alfred Taylor told us there one time. But how much ground do you have there to be that kind of market? He said, what you've got is what you see. And that ruling carried throughout the state of Kentucky. So you have to buy more right-of-way in order to take care of the traffic and everything. I know what they're going to do, because someone's going to look to go out Nelly Way and I'll go to this road. Someone's going to make a right-hand turn from 47 go to Rogers Road, or even go down to Bullitt Road, and go out and come around.
Yeah, yeah, National Turnpike.
You've
That's
got
what-
a major traffic situation there already right now, and I'm trying to figure out and everything, how this thing can be eliminated, or helped and everything with the Department of Transportation, if there's anything that.
I mean, I would love to everybody get together and sign a petition as well, saying, hey, let's fix that intersection at the railroad track. You know, we'll sign it with you. We'll ask for, 4 lanes, turning left and right, coming through it, and crossing tracks and get a red light. I mean, I would love for that to happen, because it would help us and help the whole area out as well.
Yeah, that's the number one problem right there, or the number two, there's 2 problems there. Of course, you talked about the flooding and everything, but the number one problem that people are really going to have to deal with, this goes in, is the traffic situation.
And once they start counting cars, then you guys know that's when they start to fix a problem, because they just count the cars, and they don't know it's a problem, and it's been a problem, but I'm sure they know the traffic pattern and say, hey, there's not enough people there paying taxes and paying property tax and paying road tax and shopping to spend the money in that area to get fixed. And by us adding all this property, just imagine all the tax revenue that's going to come in to help build some new schools and some new roads and improve the area. So that's what we're proposing.
I don't believe Nellie and Griffiths were always connected, and I don't know what precipitated that. That's certainly not something we were, we arranged, but that has got to be part of a contribution to that. But part of the answer to your question, Mr. Mitchell, is what are we doing to address that? And we're reducing the density and the number of vehicles that would be served by this development by 1/2, so.
Your argument would be that you could build apartments now and have 300 homes on it, or you build houses and you have 150.
Yes, sir.
That's
exactly,
so from a traffic standpoint.
That's exactly what we're doing now. That doesn't mean we're not all for helping.
Now, Griffiths, that is a county road, right?
It is a county road.
Have you all met or talked with any of the road department supervisors, anything about the realistic?
I just spoke with one lady, she wasn't sure
Okay.
how to go about that process.
Okay.
But I didn't know.
I'm just talking out loud, whether it's apartments or whether it's houses. I'm just wondering how realistic it is to obtain that 22-foot. We're dealing with it. We're dealing with it right now in an area over in my district, Greenbrier, and it's pretty challenging to get to 20-foot. It's taken a lot of work to get to 20-foot, and I'm not familiar with this road. I'm just curious if there's been any conversation with our road department supervisor.
The property on the opposite side is more businesses, so I mean, if they had to go one direction, I mean, that might be the way to go.
Okay.
Because they have a lot more room on that side of the road. Maybe a foot or so one direction and 4 or 5 the other.
There's already existing easement because there's a water line on the left side of the road.
Okay.
Somebody has to have an easement down there to run that water line through there.
Good day, that water line you're talking about, that's not gonna cause a problem, there's things, turn the water line and go back toward Nellie Way, and then continue your width and everything west on the Griffiths Lane, more so than actually tie that water line into the.
Right, well, I think, and we're going to do our sewer in the middle of the road. Just so we don't have to follow anybody else's property.
That's generally where most of them are anyway.
Right, so we're going to tear Griffin Lane up and then put it in the middle of the Griffin Lane, and then during that process, and help with drainage, because everybody knows right on that side of flat, he's not very right there, there's a whole lot.
That person may be here today, but what's that commercial building there? What is that building there?
DPS, I think.
What is it?
And is it DPS? DPS.
Okay. But that's the biggest concern that I think most of these people have got is this traffic situation. That is the number one problem. And I don't know how you're gonna get these people in and out. Of course, like I say, if the train stops or the traffic and everything comes to a big stop and everything, if you got an emergency situation, I just don't know how you're gonna deal with this thing. If you don't get something worked out with the Kentucky Department of Transportation, or we can do something with this thing out there on 1020 and 1526. But I know that's where we're gonna have our major backups. And then we already have a backup for them. It's not something that just, this is just now gonna create, it's already, that problem is already there.
Unfortunately, we can say that about a whole lot of places in our county, from 44 here and others. So it's terribly slow, it's too slow, the process of doing it, but, you know, we're committed to taking steps to do that. I'm happy to help do what I can to put that on somebody's radar right now, so. Anything else that we can address? Thanks y'all for very much for the amount of time you've given us here.
Yeah.
Give the other folks a chance here.
Yep, we sure will. Thank you, Counselor. Yeah. Well, we'll start with those against, and if you'll, I'll be happy to take your names off of the sign-in sheet. So anyone who wants to start, particularly Pam Holder. You still here, Pam?
I appreciate y'all letting me speak today. Well, thank you very much. My name is Pam Holder. I live on Hodges Lane. And when they talked about the water runoff, I have a lot of questions there because my place was flooded. And I have damage. And I don't know if y'all got a chance to see the video and the pictures, but that is my property. I've been out there since 1984. My husband owned it since 74. So we've been there a long time. My question is what permits were issued before excavation began, such as guidelines to prevent flooding damage to other properties? Who is responsible for enforcing this before excavation? Did code enforcement give approval on this? Because no measures were taken to protect my property. Flooding damage has occurred and will continue. Who is responsible for the retention ponds in the future, maintaining and recording information? This retention pond will fill up and all the oil, gas, trash, debris will float to the top and that will be overflowed onto my property. Will there be a federal problem then? This is on my 3 acres of property. That stream runs through the whole 3 acres of my property. I want to know what kind of guarantee, written guarantee, that I'm going to be protected. And when this happens, who's going to be responsible? The amount of water that rushes through my property is not safe. I have children, I have grandchildren, I have great-grandchildren. And it's not safe. And I've never seen that much water before. It's gotten into my garage. It's lifted my concrete up a little bit in front of the garage. I have a play area for the kids. It's not acceptable. I cannot do anything about it. And my property should not be damaged because somebody else cleared their land. You know, what measures are there? Before you clear a land and all that water rushes on somebody else's property, shouldn't there have been barriers put up, something to protect me and the neighbors? Judy Jones, I was over there right after the rain. Her basement's flooded. It's a swamp. And it's only going to get worse with all the roads and the driveways and the rooftops. It's going to get worse. And all that's going to be on my property. Thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'd like to have some answers. I've been there a long time, and I don't want my property destroyed like it's being destroyed now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holden.
Which property is yours on here?
And that's where the culvert is. There's a big drain pipe that leads directly to this property. This is nothing but dirt right now. Trees are gone, vegetation's gone. All that is through the stream onto my property.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holden. Kim Heskinson? Hoskinson's, I'm sorry.
Thank you for listening to me today. We need housing. I get it. It's a market. I mean, we are short on housing right now, and I do get it. I just see where the other properties around it is bigger lots. They mentioned Cherry Hill, Lazy Rivers. We all know those subdivisions. They're nice subdivisions with bigger lots and green grass and trees that'll catch some of that water and, suck it up. And I get it. But you all have a big responsibility down here for shaping our community and to protect the citizens and mold our future to what we have in Little Brooks. Brooks is a little side and everybody's, it's just Brooks. Well, trust me, we have so much traffic at that 1020 and 1526. I work there. I see it every day. I have CSX right there on speed dial because every time there's a wreck, every time there's a problem, every time there's I'm calling them because it's so bad. It's backed up to the expressway just getting off of there. They've tried to widen it, not really widen it. They've tried to just fill in the sides to make it passable with, the big truckers and stuff going down to former Solite. It's called something else now. And there's another industrial park that's kind of hidden back in there that we have so much trucks now, so many. You can't even go through that turn if somebody has to stop on the other side way back for the semi to even get through that railroad crossing. I mean, it's every 10 minutes there's a semi trying to get through there. Anyway, the state has not done enough to widen that road at all. The houses, we do not have any apartments in that area, nor do we really want them. But I think that the first plan that the houses were so close that it was a fire hazard. We have a volunteer fire department. Volunteer. They're right there, but they're only volunteer. We're relying on Hillview to come save us when there's a fire. And if they're put too close, you know what happens. But anyway, but yes, I know the one thing, the R3 was changed a couple years ago. It seems like a lot of these residents didn't even know what happened. Like they just woke up on, like we're hearing this 3 years later that was already changed. I don't know when that happened. I've worked there 15, 16 years. I've always been a resident here. I didn't know what was going on. And it seems like all of these people that backed up to this property didn't know what happened either. So I don't even know why that was even put on the table in the beginning. Because it's not an area for apartments. It's a hill. It's a hill in the back of the subdivision. And I would really invite all you all, before y'all vote on this, to come out and look at this, the back way they're talking, because I know somebody that's got killed on Wilderness Road and on Nellie Way. It's too narrow, there's 2 hills, and it's like a 1-lane road, and there's a lot of houses back there already. So I really invite you all to come out and tour it and see what we're talking about. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Kim, I'm sorry. Brenda Eddington.
Hello. I'm here because I've been there since '84 on Melly Way. We've been in Bullitt County since '73, and I drove a bus. And I'm telling you, you put that many houses out there like they're wanting to put, our apartments, those buses are gonna have a horrible time. I drove for 32 years and I know what kind of problem you have. I also feel sorry for the fire department. And we have on the right-hand side coming up Griffiths, we got the trucks that come in and out, the big trucks, that's a warehouse there. On the left is the plastic place. And then there's those houses back there that Mr. Sanders and all of them live in. And when you come around that curve off of Nellie Way down to Griffiths, there's no way when they pull out there that they're gonna see you. And that's my main concern, it's gonna be all this traffic, because right now, as of this morning, when I went to pull out, there was traffic done lined up to get out on 1020. And that is my main concern. I'm here for the safety of the people. I may never live to see all this property developed, But that's okay, because I'm getting up in age, but there's a lot of us people out there. And when we bought our ground, we had to buy an acre at a time. I don't have a thing against them building houses if they'll put 2 houses on an acre, but not no 4 or 5. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Eddington. Bill Thash. Okay. Robin, Gehlbach.
What about something else? I do agree with traffic's horrible, and it will cause a problem, but it's doesn't.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. Linda Hammonds. Is that right? H-A-M-M-O-N-S?
Yes.
Okay. Lindsay.
I've got asthma, so I'm just going to leave my mask down if that's okay. I'm having a hard time breathing today. My name is Lindsay Hammonds, and I live at 987 Brooks Schoolhouse Road. The need for growth is essential in any community, but it's how we grow that's important. I'm a real estate agent, so I understand the need for growth in a community. It's important to grow in ways that promote the health and safety of not only our current citizens, but of the future of our community. I propose R1 zoning to remain. I feel that it is actually a fair compromise, as Mr. Lee has already been granted R3 with restrictions at the front parcel. A density concern arises with R3 zoning, as this will put us into a medium to high density range. R1 will stay low density. R3 will increase density in density period. Mr. Lay is proposing just under 200 shotgun-styled homes to be constructed on 42 acres and 6 homes on 1 acre of land, as we understand from the last zoning meeting that was stated. Recently, there was a fatal accident that shut down I-65 for hours. That traffic was backed up from 65 to the 4-way stop on Brooks Hill Road. In an article from August 10th, 2020, Mr. Walt Scholler voiced his concerns on the infrastructure in the area. Does it really make sense to put at risk almost 600 to 800 lives of residents every day? Every morning and every evening, those residents will be in a rush to leave and come home to a tiny back road where the DPS warehouse company sits that already has large semis pulling in and out. Those semis often jackknife, causing 1020 and Griffiths to become completely blocked. I mean, I guess you could always pull out and go the other direction where the hairpin curve is. That's only small enough to fit 1 vehicle through. These safety issues could pose a major burden upon our public services such as police, fire, and EMS. If the proper research would have been explored prior to purchasing, they would have also discovered that the alternative entrance on Brooks Hill equally has safety issues as well. There is a hidden sharp curve there along with the dump trucks that fly up and down that hill. Mr. Lay needs to understand that if R3 zoning gets approved, the safety and health of the community rests solely on his and Bullitt County shoulders. The majority of Brooks is comprised of homes on an acre or more on each plat of land. Most of our neighborhoods, such as Brooks Station, Brooks Forest, and Brooks View, to name a few, have restrictions that state that the land has to remain at 1 acre plus. This type of development does not match the aesthetics, and this will disrupt the flow of the area. This harms the integrity of the area. Increase of crime is a concern, as well as the overloading of our schools. Brooks Elementary is now currently at 85% capacity. This is going to overload our teachers, and the children are going to suffer for it. To get R3 zoning approved, Mr. Lay's attorney, Mr. Wooldridge, stated that the back half 19 acres of the property would remain R1. Now they are seeking R3, so you can only imagine how the residents of Brooks, Kentucky must feel. We feel lied to. All of these things mentioned and more are very real growing concerns within our community. We beg of you today to make your decision not based solely on the developmental gain, but we ask you to make your decision based on logic and concern for an area that doesn't deserve to be torn apart, in our opinion. An overzealous developer who clearly hasn't thought out the consequences of the negative impact it will have on the people of our community. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Lindsay. Amy Hammonds. Okay.
Hello, I'm one of the kids that used to go to Brooks Elementary, and now I'm at Hebron. When I first went to Brooks, the schools were already almost at full capacity, and with these new homes now, says it's going to bring more kids into this. So it's probably going to cause an increase in traffic because I had to sit in that traffic like for 30 minutes just to get home, and I lived really close to that school when I went there. So, and if COVID's not done, it's probably going to have an increase in, I can't talk. It's probably going to have an increase if it's not done. Well, if COVID's not over before the buildings is finished. And wait, where am I? I'm so bad at this.
Take your time.
Yeah, it takes a lot to get in front of a lot of people, so regardless of what you're talking about, thank you for having the courage to get up here.
My main worry is that if I got hurt at the Brooks ballpark, would the ambulance be able to get to me before to save my life? And in the Pioneer News, Kenny Harden doesn't believe so. He also says it's a matter of public safety. So I just have one question to ask you. Are you willing to risk the lives of future generations? I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Laura Lee, is that right?
Yes, Lee,
okay, thank you.
Hello, my name's Laura Lee. I live at 478 Brooksview Road. Recently just moved to Brooks. We built a house on an already established property in a subdivision that does require 1 acre plus lots. We moved to this community, grew up around it with the intention on it was going to stay as rural as it is and to get away from the high density traffic in the area that we originally lived in. The homes that this builder has built in the past are absolutely beautiful. The subdivisions are large lots, beautiful homes, long driveways, to accommodate people that do have hobbies that want to take care of their yards, campers and things like that. Some subdivisions don't allow them, but their homes are beautiful, and we just want that to be brought to our community and not just crammed. The history of subdivisions that have small lots, especially the one by my parents, are the 60 by 120 lots. And those people park on the streets and clog the streets up. The people that live in the subdivisions that have 1 acre plus lots, the larger homes in Lazy River North, they have the long driveways that accommodate the things that they have to have in their driveway. And then none of them I see parking on the roads. And those subdivisions, we want that. We welcome the growth. We want the growth. You know, we want to improve the beautification of the community as much as we can. A lot of new generations coming in want to do beautification projects for the community. And I think if we keep the housing, the lots, and you know, the same way, it will help bring the community up and bring money into the community the way that it needs to be done. So I had a lot of things on here that I wanted to mention. Everybody's really tapped on it. So I just wanted to say that we really love the homes that they've built in the past. We just ask that it's the same way. I did email some pictures in regarding Pam's property, just so that she could have it shown for the video of the flood that she had in some pictures. So if she wants that played, that's fine. She gave me permission to submit that for her because she didn't have the capability at the time. But she would like to have that play for everyone to see. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Laura.
All right.
Phyllis Underhill. You pass. Thank you, ma'am. How about Clyde Underhill?
How you doing?
Hello, Clyde.
Doing good. I think Mr. Mitchell's probably laid out pretty much as we could see about the traffic concerns. I think they understand how bad it is, but they don't appreciate it because they haven't lived it. But the biggest problem I have with, number one, I live on Schoolhouse Road. So it's not directly affecting me, but indirectly it is. They come out and they say, if we don't get this approved, we're going to build these apartments. Basically saying, we've got one arm behind your back. And I understand that, and I get it. But I think it's just based on financial gain. You wipe all this timber, greenage, foliage off of this property, and you're changing the whole dynamics of how this water is flowing off this property now. These retention basins, all you're doing is directing it to the people that live by these retention basins now. So the other people on the other side are probably thinking, wow, I've never been this dry before. But then the other people are thinking, my God, what have they created here? I don't think anybody is holding anybody responsible for the faults that they haven't foreseen on what's going to happen when all this is said and done. So if nobody is held responsible, what is going to prevent them from doing this to the next county, to the next development that they choose to pursue? But the thing about it is, these threats, they're to us right now, but indirectly, they could be any of you gentlemen on the panel or ladies, because it could be in your backyard, the next development that they want to do. So I ask you to really look at all the facts. It's not about taxes for the county, development for the area. Development is great, we have to have it, but this just is not the proper location for this type of development. I mean, there has to be somewhere else. I mean, the county getting people, we can't stop that. But this is just not the right place for this type of development. And if it does go through, and if it ever hits your backyard, you're going to be up here doing the same thing we're doing, pleading for it not to be done. So I think Mr. Mitchell has done a fine job up here presenting what you have done. I've listened to it at the last meeting, but it was so clear. The clarity was there this time. But the threats, I don't understand that. If they lived in the area, if any member of your family lived in the area, Mr. Ferris, your family, if it lived in the area, you wouldn't be representing these people. They wouldn't even be having this issue up here. But they're not involved. They don't understand what's going on up there. So I just hope you look at the facts. I think you'll make a good decision based on the facts. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clyde. Steve Snow? No. Or Darlene Snow?
I would like to ask for an extra 3 minutes. I have a cognitive impairment, and if I start stuttering and slurring my words, it's not because I'm drunk. So, but just in case I go over the 3 minutes, so extra little bit of time. Fox Chase y'all did, it was great, it's beautiful, but it also caused problems with the road there too. They had to redo the, they had to do the thing that holds the water. What's that called? Yes. So there was problems there. Beautiful community area, but there were still problems. My main concern, as I have a LMPD police thing on, is for the policemen and the firemen. And sometimes when there is an accident and the semi try to make that railroad thing and somebody dies, is it worth it? The children is my main concern. As a preschool teacher of 24 years, I don't want the schools overcrowded. Yeah, Brooks Elementary might be 85% now, But when you add in all those children, then you're gonna have to maybe take them to Freedom. So that will have more buses come in. Pre-K in that area, they make different runs from pre-K to Head Start, so that's double the buses. Not just one bus for pre-K and Head Start, but that's double. So you're adding more traffic. Now, I know we came from Crestwood. We moved from Crestwood, and we've been here. I live on Brooks Schoolhouse Road. So I go that way, and I did have an accident. I did say that, and I thank you for letting us comments on that before. But in Crestwood, we do have railroad tracks, or did have railroad tracks. And our suggestions that maybe someday on down the line, we had a red light there. I know a lot of it's opposed to a red light there, but actually it works. But again, my main concern, police officers, firemen that get down that road if there's an accident and nobody dies, and the children on those buses. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes all those who signed up for the Pearl Springs development.
May I address?
If you want to conclude, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Just briefly, I know a lot of these nice folks out here. One of them is actually a client and went to high school with Clyde Underhill, and then he brings he's got his daughter and granddaughter here, which and I think the world of all these people and trust that what they're up here telling you is from the heart and is accurate. But I want to point out that the reason the houses that are there are on 1 acre is because they don't have sewers. And what we're doing is to provide the sewers that the comprehensive plan is encouraging when we bring in new developments. And we have that. It's not 200 shotgun style homes, it's 150 to 160 max. And these aren't threats, Clyde, of what will happen if we don't get it. That's not and if it came across that way through my comments, that's certainly not my intent. The intent is to say, here's what we're working with now. The demand is for a different product. The demand is for a product of 60-foot lots and nice single-family homes, as we've shown. And that's what we want to provide, and the benefit from that will be reduced density, reduced traffic. A lot of these folks are on Brooks Schoolhouse Road, and I'm hearing what they're saying about traffic there. We are not on Brooks Schoolhouse Road. A lot are on Griffiths or back up on Hodges and so forth, and those issues have got to be addressed, and by law we have to address them. They will be addressed, but if there's any clarification to the development itself, specifics about engineering that you want to ask us, we'll be happy to provide it, and we'll be happy to send out the same thing we provide you all to the adjacent property owners who received notices of this originally. Okay.
If we could, Eric, if we could get your engineering on the water flow, the numbers towards it, what it would take and how much it would take, we would love to see that.
Okay, we can do that.
On that one calculation sheet there with the first layout, it actually has the number on top of it as well. If you can blow it up, I believe, and you can read that calculation. For the first half, it says how he did the math to come up with that number for the size of the retention. So it's on that first.
Is there anything else that we might provide?
I don't know if it's even possible, but I'd like to make the recommendation that you all, as a group or whatever, maybe meet with even the road department director. Since it's a county road, I think it's kind of preliminary to discuss widening the road without even having a meeting, maybe to see if it's even feasible. Because that obviously, everybody's concern today is without a doubt, is traffic flow, whether there's apartments put there, whether there's houses. If there's a plan to widen the road 22 foot, I'd like to see that you all meet with our road supervisor and see if that's even something that can be done. I'd hate to vote on something assuming that that can happen, and then there's logistic issues or something that may prohibit that from occurring.
Well, and we can't crack the ground until we do have that.
Yeah.
As I said, number one problem, I talked to you about the retention basin and everything, and I understand about the water situation. But the number one thing that is my biggest concern is traffic situation. Got to figure out a way, some way or another, with the Department of Transportation to get to these people and everything. They got to get out and everything. They can't all go out to 1026 to 1526. You can't do that. It's a major problem we've already got there to start with. There's got to be another way to look at this thing with the Department of Transportation and everything, and eliminate this traffic flow and traffic problem that we've got. If it's to build some additional lanes and do something with the Department of Transportation. If this thing is going to be a safety issue for people, children, the school buses, everything that's involved in that immediate area right there. It's a big safety issue. You've got emergency situation.
Either way it goes, but currently the plans it has now are our plan. I mean, you're saying that it's an issue. Now, are you saying Griffiths and 1020, or are you saying Brooks Hill Road and 1020, or what is it?
It's a larger issue when you have 200 cars coming in going every single day, morning.
Right, they're going to learn that they can't get out that, and then they're going to go the back way, which is even more dangerous.
What it is, if you try to go to Wilderness Road and go out the back way, that's a really, that's even worse.
And they're gonna cut over Wilderness Road to Brooks School House Road, which is why all these people were concerned.
And then that brings you out to the dump truck problem, because they're going up the hill, and that's where they're going to be coming out, because they're going to say, oh, we want
All right, okay, all right. Thank you all for your comments, and just one.
Another thing though. We love last time that we had this meeting, we was told that either you do it our way or we're going to put apartments. Okay, that's what we was told. So, Mr. Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
Last meeting was horrible.
Yes, ma'am.
There was none of these people up there, but you. You called us names. You asked us.
Well, Bill. He got red there, didn't he?
Did I look like that guy?
I believe you did.
You're okay. No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Went my cognitive impairment, but we was threatened. And then it took that guy to say 3 times, we're going to take a vote. Are you in? And then they all raised their hands. Okay? So that's bullying. Okay? I don't believe in bullying. Not with a 4-year-old and not for whatever, how old he was. I'm 57. I believe in respect. And we did not get respect. Okay? Or I should say, they didn't get respect. Okay? Everybody needs to work together. But when you're threatened for 3 times to say, I'm going to take a vote, and then all of them raise their hands. Yes. So.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Are you getting respect with this court?
Oh my gosh, you're wonderful. And I'm sorry.
No, you're good. We just want to make sure.
And thank you. And,
you look like Bert. Oh, he got red.
So that concludes the discussion on Pearl Springs. We need to have an executive session for litigation.
What about our lunch?
Yeah, I know,
Joe already needs to read.
I know Joe does. I have two more, I need to,
Robin,
yeah, I need Robin. Robin, come up here and chat about the internet.
I'm sorry, Judge, we are done with this issue.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
thank you guys.
It was just the first reading today. No
We
action.
get to study it, go see it, do all that, make our decisions about it.
So does it come up at the next meeting?
Yes, ma'am, the vote will be at the next meeting.
Well, no. He's saying that right now, and I appreciate what he's saying. I want some more information from the Transportation Cabinet. I can't vote on it. I'm not saying they won't vote on it. But I want some more information from the Transportation Cabinet.
Well, I just want to know so we knew what was going on. And we
Right.
could-
I mean, they may vote, but I don't want to vote on it right now.
On Griffith's Lane, they said they have no right of way on either side because you remember when I moved there, it was a lane, it was a one road lane and that was it. And then you came along and you chipped and sealed the road, you widened,
Right,
and you can't go nowhere else.
right.
So were they gonna get the road, the property?
I've been good to y'all, man.
That's not gonna happen.
No, it won't. No, not unless you're gonna include Millie in.
Okay.
They need another way in and out of that area, it's too tight.
Okay, moving on.
All right, Robin?
Okay. My name is Robin Gilback. I just have a question because I am a Windstream customer and I only have access to Windstream where I live. And currently, the max amount of megabytes I can get is 4. Now, the children of today's schools, they need at least 30 megabytes, according to a resource, to run their activities. I have 5 grandchildren that are in school, and I cannot help them at all with 4 megabytes. I've had Windstream come out to my property and assess the area, tell me how the what's it called? The holding point or wherever the Windstream comes from is too far away from me and they can't help me. I've had Spectrum come out and say that they cannot help me and get internet. My neighbors can get it, of course, but I live off the road a little bit. And Windstream is the only one that can access me and I just need help. I need help from my community. I mean, I'm sure that I'm not the only one in this community that can only get 4 megabytes of internet. I can't work from home from that. I can barely run, I have to turn my phone off to run Netflix because it won't work. So I know that I'm not the only one out here. So please hear me for the other people that don't even know that they could maybe. Are we not getting fiber in Bullitt County? Are we not gonna upgrade our community to make us a better place to live and keep us up in our rural areas? I mean, I'm not city. I only get you. And you're the only ones that can help me. And I'm paying $100 for 4 megabytes. You know, that's robbery. The Brooks Elementary came out with a thing that you can get from AT&T. I went to my AT&T store to inquire about it. They don't come to Bullitt County. There's a monopoly between Spectrum and Windstream that Bullitt County doesn't have that. I don't know why they would even approach it to our community if they won't even offer it. So I've been wanting to say this for a long time, and I've tried to do extra research and try to get information. But, I mean, are you looking at even upgrading your yes?
No, yes, and we have Robin. Kentucky Wired is literally, they're running straight down 61, then it'll branch off. I have to see exactly how far that they've gotten, but Kentucky Wired was part of a greater project in the Commonwealth of Kentucky to get faster speeds out to rural areas.
And that's Hillview. That's way far away from me. Is that what they're doing up there in Hillview on the side of the road?
Well, they've been coming straight down.
On 61 in Hillview?
Straight down to Polk County. Yeah.
What's their time frame on that? Is that some sort of time frame coming on?
We'll have to check on it. It should have been done, but I'm gonna be brutally honest with you, with COVID and all the excitement. I mean, we had a 911 center push back 3.5 months due to.
I agree, but our children are home, and they're gonna be homeschooled, and they're gonna be, you know, how do they have access to all that? We put all this money into school taxes to allow our children to have better education, and we can't even provide at home what you're making us do. You're making us do it at home, and we can't do it. So I just want to put a plea out there to help us. And look at us in the rural area as opposed to the most, you know, there's a lot of people out there in the rural area.
Right.
And we've been lost. And I've been there for 13 years. There's been no upgrade.
Your plea is well heard, Robin. Now, I'll be square with you, because it's not just internet, it's still the basics of water.
It's technology. We're behind in technology so far that it's just sad. It's really sad. I did send something to you about it, about Windstream and what you thought. I didn't hear anything back. I live in Lickskillet Farms.
Yeah.
And we're not, I'm a crow's fly away from the station, the substation of Windstream, and I'm probably a mile's crow's fly from that. And the guy says there's no help, you know, unless you get a rerun, and they're not gonna do a rerun for me, because I'm too far out. Maybe they will for you.
It might be something we can look at inviting our providers that we currently have in, give us an update on where we stand, because, I mean, you're not alone. I hear it,
I know.
you know, I hear internet's a problem, and the options are a problem, and so it might be something we as a court can even look at, you know, bringing in the representative from each one that we are working with, see kind of what their future plans are, where we stand, who don't have service, and see.
I would really like to hear that.
I'd like to hear it myself too, after hearing you talk, because I've heard others, you know, express the same concerns.
That's all I get, max.
Yeah.
They can't upgrade me, they can't add another line.
And obviously, it's a much bigger concern even now, as you said, with homeschooling NTI program, a lot of students requiring on the internet when they can't be in the classroom. So I think it's something we can look at for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
Sheena Deasing, the last one.
I'm gonna take this off to speak, if that's okay. And I also have, sorry, a copy for you all, if you would like it. If you would.
Okay, I'll take it.
So thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Sheena Tising. I am a resident of the Mount Washington area. I'm here to speak with you today in regards to a few issues that I have experienced over the past month or so, specifically in regards to the planning and zoning meeting that a lot of people here have spoke of today. I really hope that you all are already aware of these issues. I have sent an email to a few of you all. Didn't get a response. I played phone tag with Mr. Logston, but in those documents, you can see some examples. The events I'm speaking of are in regards to Chairman Mr. Jerry Burke and his comments and behavior of that evening. He was very disrespectful, rude, and discriminating and threatening to the citizens in attendance that evening. The examples I've provided for you are in lieu of the actual recording that there might be or transcript that I have not got yet. According to the Bullitt County Code of Ethics, officials of Bullitt County are committed to the operation of a government that manifests the highest moral and ethical standards among its officers, employers, boards, and commission members. The Fiscal Court finds and declares that the vitality and stability of the county government depends upon the public's confidence of the integrity of its elected and appointed officials. I think it's very safe to say right now that a large portion of our public has very little confidence in the integrity of our government when it comes to decisions that were made. Some of the decisions that were made and approvals that were made that will go on to the next bodies will cause major safety and issue concerns that will directly cause for liability to county, state, and cities. These are liabilities for accidents of the safety issues that will occur on these roads that issues were brought up on, and these things were, or these developments were still approved. So, once I calm down. Why am I here today? Mr. Burke was appointed by Mr. Summers last June 18th of 2019. I am asking that Judge Summers remove Mr. Burke from the Planning and Zoning Commission Board as part of his responsibilities and duties under KRS 67710. Number 2, I am asking that the Bullitt County Code of Ethics be reviewed and updated to include a standards of conduct as required by KRS 65.003. I am asking that the Ethics Board information be provided on the county website. I am also asking that Bullitt County consider establishing a Human Rights Commission to work and complement the Ethics Board. Lastly, I am asking that the Planning and Zoning hearing held on July 23rd be investigated as allowed under KRS 67.080, powers of the fiscal court, and any appropriate actions be taken. I would like to state that I do not wish to bring any ill will to anyone, and my reason for being here is not influenced by any personal bias. I brought these concerns to you demanding fair, ethical, and respectful treatment for all of the citizens of Bullitt County. Seeking the safety of our communities are being taken into consideration, and to bring government integrity and confidence back to the public. So I thank you for hearing me today, and I would be willing to speak with any of you all in regards to this and put my information on here, so.
Thank you for coming.
At this time, I need a motion from this group to go into executive session under KRS, John, help me, or Rob, for litigation.
61.810.1C.
Thank you. There you go. I'm making, got a second by Magistrate Grayhill. Any discussion, gentlemen? If not, Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr.